Hi, Normal America robnoerr. Glad to be here. I had thought perhaps I read incorrectly that I had a no prep debate tonight. I reached out to Speakeasy. Speakeasy said that there are two people lined up, but they were not prepared for tonight. So that's fine. Everybody needs to prepare to debate me more time now. That's okay. So I didn't really have a show planned. So I'm gonna fucking rant and rave all night. That's what I'm gonna do. Just talk about whatever comes to my mind about anything. I'm open to any and all topics that people have in the chat and possibly doing call ins at some point tonight if that's the case. So, sorry to let people down. I was hoping to have a debate tonight as well. It's not Speakeasy's fault. He's doing yeoman's work trying to find people for me to debate. So, it's what it is. Did I watch Tucker interview Jimmy Dore? I did not. I didn't see that. Don't miss the Taylor Swift thing. T Swift attended the Knicks game. Was she one of the people in the riots afterwards? That would be worth talking about. I'll be honest, I'd have a little more. I'll be like, all right, Swifties out there rioting. Now we're talking. They're to be taken seriously, right? Brian Shapiro on Tim Pool right now. Well, they love him. They love Brian Shapiro over there. He's a scared topic like Jewish folks. We'll hit them all tonight, I'm sure. Why not? I don't know, though. Oh, yeah, after both games in New York, there were riots in New York. People celebrating, and it didn't matter if you win or lose, I guess. You just riot, smash shit up. I don't know. Never understood that. That's more of a, like, go get drunk and have fun, not smash shit up if my team won. Oh, man. What a day, though. It was a productive day for my family. Got myself a haircut, though. Am I seeing an errant hair? Is that what I'm seeing here? Or is it just, is there one sticking out? Oh, no. Is that what that looks like? No. Here we go. Let's try this out. I'm going to cut my ear off. It's hard because it's reversed. Did I get him? Oh, that's pissing me off. I just got a haircut. So I'm missing a hair there. Oh, my Lord. My wife's going to have to take care of it. Well, you got to deal with a schmuck here. That's right. That's why you're tuning in. Yeah, look, it's almost completely bald. There's some hairs hanging on there. There's some hanging on. Look at this guy. This guy's a fighter right here. That guy's hanging on to the bitter end. I respect that. All of his friends have passed on. He's like, no, I'm sticking it out. I like that. That's the gumption. You want to have the tenacity of a bald man's hair. One of the few ones that are sticking around. You know? Yeah, I got a little bit of that. Doesn't look all that bad from the front. I mean, the line is back here, but then you get, yeah, not looking great. I don't give a shit. I don't have to see it. I don't care. I'm married. Don't matter to me. Get the hair in a can shit, yeah. Head to Turkey, get implants. Why not? Well, I actually got some productive shit done. What am I doing here? Done today. Thanks. I did very little, but the guys came. My uncle came and finished Hank's playhouse. Hank enjoys it thoroughly. Unfortunately, it rained all day, so they were out there in the rain putting it together, and Hank didn't get to play with it much because of the rain. But hopefully tomorrow. I also have some mowing I need to get done, so we're hoping. We're hoping. You can call me Cue Ball. I don't give a shit. I'm completely fine being bald because I've never been an attractive man anyways. I understand the people that were like attractive when they were young and then they go bald and they're like, oh no. But for me, I'm like, why is it taking so long? I don't give a shit. I'm more of a personality man. That's how I got my wife. I don't think it was the stunning good looks. Fine by me. So, never really affected me. Yeah, I had a friend that like started to lose his hair around 18. I actually knew a guy that got bit by a dog, and then what do they call it? Alopecia, where you literally lose like all of your hair, like your everything, like your eyebrows, your head, your like any body hair. Like as an adult, as like a 24-year-old man, and he just rolled with it. He's like, man, fuck it. What can you do? You know? Yeah, the people aren't ready for me. There's my. I don't know if he wants me to say, but there's my cousin in the chat that actually built said playhouse. Now he's gonna call out when I'm like, yeah, man, I was building a playhouse, fucking, swinging a hammer and shit. I didn't do shit. I stood in the rain for like 5 minutes, and they were like, you can go in the house, you ain't doing anything, and I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, he got alopecia he got bit by a dog. I saw my man Brian Shaprio was on Tim Pool. Hey, everybody needs a lovable left-wing loser to beat up on. There's just no lovable ones. That's the problem. That's right. Moral support. I'm very good at that. I'm very good at moral support. Yeah, I was. You can hear it yelling out the window. You guys are doing great. It looks great though. They did a wonderful job. You know what's funny? Like with guys like that can actually just build shit. So we bought this setup, right? And you know how it is. You see something on Amazon or something. It's like, oh, kids playhouse, and then when you get them, it's like IKEA. There's all these instructions, and you got your bolts for everything, and your washers, and each board's labeled and shit. And these guys are telling me like, we could have for half the price just got our own lumber and fucking built you a playhouse, and it would have taken half the time. It's more of a pain in the ass trying to make this puzzle fit together, like finding all these pieces, than just literally, if you know what you're doing, sit down with lumber and build it yourself. And I was like, yeah, but the slide, they're like, you could buy that shit. That's easy. I was like, oh, well, next time, I guess. So that's, but I cannot thank them enough. And I was upstairs fighting with people. I'll get to it when they finished, which I feel bad for. But my honor was challenged, and I had to step up to the plate. So I did, like a fool. So I didn't get to say, so thank you for building that. I appreciate it. My son's very pleased. He talked about it all night. So it's all worth it. It was good stuff. So here's the deal. I'm just going to start yelling tonight. That's my plan about what the fuck ever. I have zero plans. None. I thought I was doing the no prep debates. I was like, oh, I don't have to prep a show today. And I got busy doing shit. And I was making some calls to people and, just behind the scenes stuff. And I didn't really plan a show. So instead, I'm just going to give some general thoughts on the world and debate and politics and culture and Brian Shaprio. Like, we'll talk a lot. In fact, the whole show is just going to be talking about how awesome Brian Shaprio and his syndicated radio host or radio show is. It's just. Has a weird infatuation with men's organs. He's a syndicated radio host, and it's all about respect. He's Brian Shaprio. He harasses. Oh no! Don't play it again for crying out loud. No. Jeez. The Penis Gate song. Maybe we'll get to it. Brian's getting smoked on Timcast. No! Who would have thought? I don't know. This might be one of the worst shows or one of the best. So I'm just going to start riffing on whatever I feel about. Is there anyone good faith left on the left? Are there any? Are there any of them? All the people you interact with, the people you debate, and all this shit. I'm so fucking tired of it. I'm gonna call something out now. And I don't do this a lot. You see, I have this belief, and I got this from my grandpa, that I'm not really better than anyone, but no one's really better than me. Now, obviously, it only works in the abstract because there are people I'm better than, like a serial killer or something. But in general, it's good to keep level headed, not to be intimidated by people, and keep a level head. Don't get too big of a head when you're trying to, get ahead in life. But I'm going to put that to the side for tonight and just call it like I see it. I fuck people up in debates the vast majority of the time I debate them. That's just true. I try to stay humble. There are people that have done well against me, but the overwhelmingly majority amount of time that I debate people, I do very good. And I'm tired of all the games and the bad faith and the bullshit and the running in circles. I'm fucking tired of it. I'm tired of it the same way, a dude that gets into boxing because he's like, I just like boxing. And then there's all the red tape behind the scenes. I'm so over it. I'm so fucking done with it. Today was just a moment of clarity for me that I was like, all right, this is what was needed. So what had happened was, this guy Pisco I debated the other day. I debated a lot of time. Pisco is one of my favorite people to debate for a long time because I felt that at least he would have a back and forth on normative issues. That's what I thought. And I think he's gotten precipitously worse. And the best part is he's gotten worse at the exact same time that he's working with people that are telling him he's getting better. And that's why people don't want to deal with him. So there's this guy, Ask Yourself, that's like, some Phil Bro guy, and he's helping train Pisco on like linear thought or some bullshit like that. And it's basically people that want to make excuses up to quibble over minute definitions of words and only talk about exact syllogisms so they could actually ignore the things that they're actually suggesting and they believe. They don't want to actually defend the positions that they have. That's the position they're in. Now, sometimes it's important to have particularly if you're talking about philosophical discussions, right? If you're talking about religion, I get it. If you're talking about like the nature of what is moral, etc. I understand some level of that. But when you're talking about shit like who should we elect? Should we pack the court? I don't mind the nature of the conversation getting somewhat philosophical, but the idea that we have to sit here and like everything has to be put down in a formal syllogism and nothing outside that syllogism could be brought in, etc., etc. All of it is just an attempt by people to control the conversation because they know that they're incapable of winning the argument in just a standard two people talking type format. And you might be saying, how convenient, Rob. You quibble about the rules because you can't do well. To the contrary, I go into that platform and fuck them up under their own rules with their own moderator and was prepared to do so again today. All words are utterances. I don't really mean the common definition of that word. I mean something completely different. But when I explain to you what those words mean, then I also could mean something completely different with those. That's fine. I'm willing to go into that. But the whole situation afterwards, it's not the Andrew Wilson tactic. I just said if you're debating religion, etc., it's completely different. Here's the difference. Let's say someone wants to debate Andrew on, I don't know, some hater thing. How many times has Andrew said, sure, you come in, whatever you want. Hater debate, let's go. Andrew will talk about things like, if you're going to make moral judgments, we have to see where your morality comes from. Be quite fair, it's not a debate I like having, to be honest. But I understand the utility of that. That's different than being like, you must debate this syllogism, and 6 or 7 of the words within the syllogism are my proprietary definitions. And I'm allowed to change the syllogism at a whim in the debate, as Pisco did with mine. It's completely different. Raceland says, I called out Pisco on his misleading words with proprietary definitions, and his response was essentially he didn't know the words would be misleading. He's full of shit. The very first word he changed in the opening statement before I said a word on the second prompt. And his premise was basically what happened to Merrick Garland was court packing. And he's like, it doesn't really matter if it's court packing. Let's call it court schmacking. Now, if the argument is, well, no, that was just for clarity because he means something different by court packing than you. And that's all it was a simple mistake. Why wouldn't he just change the word in the first place? In effect, what he said was, I know people will take issue with this definition before I said a word about it. And so he's like, I might as well use a different word. But then why wouldn't you change the prompt before you go into the debate? Why would you intentionally have a word that you knew would be ambiguous? And if he says, I didn't know, then why before I said one word did he already start equivocating on it? Well, maybe that's not the common definition. Okay, why wouldn't you just explain in a few words what it is you're trying to say? The reason is because he wants people to believe, oh, what happened to Merrick Garland was court packing, and so therefore we're allowed to court pack in response. Because he knows that there's some inherent belief of fairness. If you do something to one side, they get to do it back to you type thing. So he uses the word court packing. But he also knows if he doesn't prove what happened to Merrick Garland was court packing, then he loses the debate because his premise falls apart. So he strategically puts the word in there and tells the world, this is what I'll be debating. And then before it even comes up, before someone can attack, actually, that premise is wrong. This wasn't court packing. He's like, I just mean my own thing with court packing. Court packing, court schmacking, same thing. Meanwhile, then his logic coach or whatever, ask yourself, it's like, yes, of course. Perfectly reasonable. That's the issue I was trying to say. Pitsko was on there today, and he's like, I had said in previous debates, if you listened, it doesn't matter if it's court packing or court schmacking. No. What I said was you use the same prompt every debate. And then before I even got to say a word about the prompt, you changed the word. And the entire first prompt that we had in the debate was how it's bad faith not to have a pre-agreed sort of target on what the affirmative is going to be talking about. And then he immediately changes, and he did it for a reason. It wasn't arbitrary. He didn't just throw a dartboard and like, I guess I'll call it court packing. That word means nothing to me, though. It's not what he did. Anyways, neither here nor there. I'm glad you brought it up, Rayson, though, but he's full of shit. Now, I didn't mind the debate. I mean, it was ludicrous and whatever. And I didn't mind that I walked into a trap. Now, let me say this about Avi. I want to be clear. Avi seems like a decent guy. All right? Avi didn't call me a coward or anything. Avi, I heard a little of his explanation today, thinks it's his rule as a moderator to sort of interject when he thinks the debate is falling off like normative linear rules. I disagree. I think normative debate moderation is you moderate. You stop people from talking over each other. You strategically at times try to get the debate back on focus. You don't say what your a valid syllogism is. You don't have the audience or the participant appealing to you over and over again. That's not how I normatively view debate. But fine, that's how Avi does it. Great, no problem. Once I saw that was the game, fine, I rolled with it. But he clearly was picked by Pisco as part of an agenda. Now, he's been doing this with Pisco's coach, Ask Yourself, for quite some time. So I'm sure it was all part of the strategy. Oh, we know that Avi can't help himself. He's going to constantly weigh in. So all we have to do is find this valid syllogism and know the formal stances of what makes a syllogism and all this stuff. P delta, whatever, the little phrasing that they have for it. And then he'll keep it. You can keep asking him and he'll steer you in the right direction if you need to or whatever. That's fine. Fuck it. I don't care. I saw what was going on within the first hour. We went another 10. I didn't give a shit. I told Avi, hey, I think you're putting the thumb on the scale for him. I don't give a shit, though. Fine, let's rock. I don't care. Let's do it. That's how she goes. No problem. It's the shit afterwards that I've had enough. Right? So this guy, ask yourself, at some point in that debate, in fact, let me see if I could find this. Fuck it. Fuck it, we'll do it live. Now, this isn't going to just be all about them. It's going to be about the nature of arguing with people like this in the first place. But, all right, live. Okay. I'll have to find the transcript. Control F. No, what's going on? All right, here's the part where now I didn't know at the time that there was even I recollected afterwards that there's a person that goes by the name Ask Yourself. I didn't remember that. And I certainly didn't know that was the person that was like Pisco's big coach. I just didn't know. Right? So what happens in this portion of the debate? I said like the literal words, the utterance. Ask yourself, would you be willing to blah blah blah? And he thought that was me mentioning the person. Ask yourself. So here we go. So we'll get to it. Like I don't know.
Do you understand what I just said?
Let me finish. Do you have like 5 more hours?
No, we should bring Ask.
By the way, that was 5 hours. So we did have 5 more hours. So finish. Let me finish. Do you have like 5 more hours?
No, we should bring Ask Yourself on if he's in your chat right now, and we should put a pin in it and come back to it, Rob.
No. I'm gonna keep getting to what I want.
I thought you mentioned Ask Yourself. You said he's in your chat.
Who?
I thought you said Ask Yourself is in your chat.
I don't even know who the fuck Ask Yourself is. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yourself's in your chat. I could be wrong about that.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know. I thought you were calling it. You Ask Yourself, baby. I don't know that this person Ask Yourself. Okay. Anyways, I'm gonna get
Ask Yourself as a person who
and he DM'd me saying
who would want to come.
To be clear, Rob, this is why I got confused. Yeah. So.
Oh, he DM'd him during the debate. I guess he DM'd him. That's interesting. His coach was DMing him. Nice. Bring him on. Yeah. Bring him on. He'll help debate for me.
So the reason I say that is because Ask Yourself DM'd me, like, if you guys are having call-ons, you want to come on. And when you said Ask Yourself, I assume that's who you're talking about. But I'm happy to put a pin in it and come back to where we left off.
I don't want to put a pin. I want to. Oh. Yeah. Let's bring him on. Bring that Ask Yourself guy on. Bring him on. Yeah. Whatever. Fuck it. Might as well have. They got 5 more friends they come on to. Why not? I don't give a shit. Fine. Great. You pick the mod. You bring on the fucking people. You hyper focus on the syllogism. Fine. No problem. You still rage quit at the end of the day. Anyways, so afterwards, Pisco politely sends me, I read this earlier, but he sends me a group. He makes me and Ask Yourself and him in a group. And Ask Yourself's like, hey, I'd be happy to like help you out with this schma thing and objective correct definitions are orthogonal to the schma thing. No thanks. So basically, I'm not going to reread it again. You get back to the show this morning and see, or this afternoon. I didn't want his help. I was like, thank you, but no thank you. And he ended up telling me that I was running from him and he was going to put me on his public people that are dodging him list. And if I ever uncucked, that's what he said. Now, the whole premise is silly. What if your neighbor's like, hey, can I help you mow your yard? And you're like, no, thanks. Why are you dodging me, bro? What? I just said, no, I didn't need your help. Thank you, but no thank you. No, by help, it's obvious. And I can tell by the fact Pisco brought him up. It's like, oh, I get what's happening. This is going to be a guy that's going to try to smooth over. Let me tell you why what Pisco was doing was good. No, thanks. I don't need your help. I debated Pisco. That's fine. I don't need your help. That's fine. It'd be the same in, collegiate debate. If you just beat a team and their coach came up to you and said, "Can I offer you some help on how actually my team was doing good?" "No, I'm good. Thank you, though. Appreciate the offer. No thanks. I don't need it." So he got super pissy, whatever. Then they do the Cope stream. First thing that was funny about this 4-hour Cope stream was Avi was on there as well, which is fine. No problem. But if I was the moderator that people were saying was involved too much, and I was like, I have no skin in the game for either side, I don't know if I would go on a Cope stream of one of the two participants that I was accused of helping. But fair enough, his decision, okay. And then ask yourselves on there. And of course, they're, using colorful language to say that I'm an idiot and I'm so stupid and I'm bad faith. Whatever, I don't give a shit about any of that. But what I did give a shit about was ask yourself again, saying that I was dodging him or running. Now, one thing I need to work on as a prideful man is when people say that sort of shit to me, like you're dodging me, you're running from me. I ain't fucking running from people. I ain't. Fuck you. I might be a dumb redneck, but I ain't running. There are people that I'm annoyed with and don't want to deal with anymore. But most of the time, I'm like, shit, yeah, I'll take the debate. That's how I ended up in an 11-hour debate with Bisco with the moderator of his choice. When the first prompt was, how did Ryan do in a previous debate? I'm like, yeah, fuck it. I don't care. Let's go. So once I heard him again saying, oh, Rob's running from me, I had mentioned yesterday or the day before on the show, if he wants to debate, fine. I don't want his advice. If he wants to debate, he could debate the prompt that me and Bisco were debating. Fine. Court packing. Sounds good. Let's go. So someone said, that guy's on there saying you're running from him. So I clicked on real quick, and I saw he was like, oh, people, to Rob's fans that are saying that he offered to debate me and I'm running. I was like, yeah. So I started typing. I was like, yeah, let's debate court packing. Let's do it. No, I don't want to. Oh, you're running from me? No, I just don't feel like it. Well, really, when I didn't feel like your advice, that meant I was running from you. So now that you don't feel like debating me, you're not running from me. All I said was I didn't want your advice. You're the one saying, no, I don't want the debate. Now, to be perfectly honest, perfectly reasonable response would be like, I don't feel like debating that topic with you. It doesn't mean you're running. But if your definition is you offering help to me means that I need to uncuck and that I'm running from you, and then you're going to go on channel saying I'm running from you, well, why shouldn't the same standard be held to you? Now, this, of course, is a Phil Bro mindset like these people. You see, I'm sure the reason that doesn't apply is because it's a whataboutism or it doesn't fit into his predefined syllogism in a formal logic pattern, or there's something with incoherence or something because the utterances of the words that he's specifically saying have a unique definition that aren't what the rest of us mean. In other words, I'm a fucking coward bitch, is what he's trying to say. He just doesn't want to tell you. Then I say, all right, how about this? I'll come on and we'll talk about our conversation we had about me running. No, I don't want to do that. He don't want to talk about that. He wants to give me a lecture on 3 areas of this schma tactic. All right, how about we talk the way, regardless of if you think that's an acceptable tactic, the way Pisco used it was bad. No, I don't want to talk about that. Then why did you want to reach out to me? My specific I know in general theory, I might not be able to put it down in like the proper formal definition, but I know what's going on. You shouldn't eat dinner at 11 o'clock at night, okay? My opponent's like, you ate a hot dog at 10 last night. And I go, yeah, but I don't call that dinner. I don't. That's just a late night snack. That's not dinner. I had dinner at 6 o'clock. So that's not dinner. And the person's like, let me clarify. The word dinner is irrelevant to this. The relevant part is I'm saying you don't eat like actual food. It's okay to have like a little wee snack, but like an actual like hot dogs or, you see what I'm saying? So let's say instead of dinner, we said schminner. Don't eat another meal like dinner late at night. Oh, okay. That's fine. I understand the utility of that device. But Pisco's doing something more than that. Pisco's intentionally taking a word, court packing, that he knows there's utility in the audience seeing it. Oh, they did court packing? We get to do court packing. So he uses that term. But he also knows he can't defend that definition of what happened to Merrick Garland as court packing. So he says it doesn't really matter if it was court packing. Then why not make a more accurate word? Because the fact he chose that word was itself for utility in trying to win this argument. That's what I wanted to talk about. You could explain to me the logical utility and how this could be beneficial at times. That's not what was happening here. That's why I don't need you. Your entire, well, you need a lesson on this, Rob, let me help you, was based on me saying how bad Faith Pisco was for doing that. And you just want to imply by giving, the same way that Pisco wanted to use the word court packing and then immediately before I had a chance to say a word, say, but it doesn't matter if we call it court packing, we call it court schmacking. That's the exact, you can see where he gets it from. Ask yourselves doing the same thing. There is an implicit assumption, the reason he reached out to me. Hey, Rob, this is his, happy to explain the shama move, its utility, and why objective correct definitions are orthogonal to the sh moved prop. The prop, Pisco's proposition. So what implicitly he's trying to get me to agree to get into the discussion with him is, what Pisco did was okay. And let me explain. And when I say, I'm willing to talk to you about how I don't think it was okay, he's like, no, that's not part of the conversation. You have to agree with me beforehand. It is clear that the reason that Pisco put him out to connect with me was, Rob, you were wrong when you called Pisco out for that being bad faith. You were wrong. Let me explain why. Philosophers do this all the time. I'm like, no, I don't think I am wrong. I'd like to discuss why that's not the case. I refuse. You have to agree to talk to me without saying that Pisco was wrong. You can't do that. That's the prompt that he wants to debate me on. I have to agree to that. The truth is, I don't know why these people can't just be honest. That's what's most frustrating. You might think I'm a fucking bigot. You might think I'm a bad person. You might think I'm stupid. You might think I'm a blowhard. You might think that I'm too arrogant. And hell, maybe you're right about all those things. But at least I'm telling you what I honestly feel. Last night, this Tammy person calls into debate. I enjoyed myself. How many times have I had a debate where people say things that you just 99.9% know that they're just blatantly bullshitting you? Do you think that Trump's position is like Republican president and going to run again affected why so many of these investigations looked into him? No. I haven't bragged, but it looked into anyone like that. Really? Here's the Hillary case. He chose not to. Letitia James ran on getting Trump. That's good. But no, I don't think politics had anything to do with it. And what do you do with that? You're just like, I don't know what to say. On the 0.001% chance you're telling us the truth, I guess you're so out of touch that it makes dialogue with you impossible. But what it's more likely is the old millennial woes tattoo. So much of what the Democrats do is pretend to not understand things, thus making conversation impossible. And that's what I'm seeing everywhere. So this ask yourself guy who's saying I'm a coward, I won't talk to him. I'm like, here I am, let's talk. No, you have to agree with all this shit before I'm willing to talk to you. It's not enough that it's 3 of them on the panel and just me. It's not enough that it's in the specific words that he said to me. Not enough. It's not enough that it's on the literal application of why he's talking to me about that, which was Pisco's use of this strategy. Nope. No, the topic has to be specifically tailored as much as possible so that you can't have any disagreement with me. Then I'm willing to talk to you. No thanks. And then what got me the best was he was like, I could probably solo Rob and his whole crew. Really? You ran like a bitch today. If you just gave me like 6 months to prepare a prompt of exactly my choosing that we couldn't talk about anything outside the scope of that prompt whatsoever, I could probably come up with one that I'd be willing to have a conversation with Rob about. I'm good, sir. Go fuck yourself. It'd be different if he didn't call me a coward and shit like that. I'd just say, oh, fair enough. He doesn't want to talk about it. But the fact he is implying that I'm running from him because I didn't want his advice, and then he's going to call me a coward publicly. All right. That's the type of shit that I'm just like, fuck you people. Fuck you. I play your little fucking games. I jump into your fucking, oh, my mod and my syllogism and blah, 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 blah. I do all that bullshit. I'm polite to you when you reach out to me in the background. You're an asshole to me. Then you tell everyone that I'm running from you because I didn't want your fucking advice. And then you run like a little bitch. When you guys are doing your little cope fest on the debate that your boy got his ass kicked in. Then as soon as I showed up, oh, Rob's in the chair. Yeah. So here's the new deal. I mentioned this earlier. I ain't talking to fucking Ask Yourself ever again. Go back and watch that stream this earlier in the afternoon. For why? Fuck him. He had his chance, ran his mouth. Wouldn't bring me on. I'm not talking to Pisco anymore. Fuck him. Sitting there with this little boy, oh, you agreed to this, be able to talk, but Pisco said afterwards, oh, I didn't do anything. I already invited Ask Yourself on and blah, blah, blah. I know what's going on with the little fucking game here. You and your little coach and setting up with the moderator you guys want and all of this bullshit. Hey, Rob, I'm just reaching out to you to put you because I think he could help you out. No, thanks. They said, it's lonely at the top. Once you get so good at debate, no one wants to debate you. That's what's going on, Pisco. Mm-hmm. That must be what's happening. Yeah. By the way, why doesn't he have the debate up on his channel yet? Put it up, big man. At least get some cope likes from your dumb fuck audience that'll be like, you did awesome. You crushed Rob. His simple mind doesn't understand that words don't have objective meaning. He doesn't understand it. Like, just think about this for 1 second. Their whole argument is you must focus on the syllogism, but they're allowed to change the syllogism within the debate, however they see fit. Oh, okay, you proved a point that was wrong. I'll add this to the syllogism. Now I'm right. And if you're like, but this isn't what you really believe. You believe other shit. That's irrelevant. We're only talking about this syllogism, which I'm allowed to make changes anytime you prove something and it's wrong. I win. No, you don't. Pisco wanted to focus on his syllogism for his debate with Ryan and his debate with me. His boy Avi, who's his coach's buddy, ended up saying his syllogism wasn't sound. So he loses, right? No, he says, I'll just change that. All the while, are we talking about the actual plan he's advocating for? No. We talking about the actual plan that Democrats are advocating for? No. We're just talking about his stupid fuck syllogism that he's allowed to make adjustments to see fit to change to whatever he wants. And me, one criticism you can have me, like a dumb fuck, I actually went into the debate and did it. I wrecked him the entire time. He kept crying to daddy, Avi, can you explain? Avi, can you? Avi, can you? It's when you reverse the syllogism and say Republican, it's not valid. It's not valid. Avi, tell him it's not valid. How about this? How debate Ask Yourself on the topic, Ask Yourself is a slimy little bitch. Oh, but when I say slimy little bitch, I just mean whatever. I mean, he's someone that claims to know formal rules of logic and fashions himself as someone who's a student of philosophy. That's all I mean. So by slimy little bitch, I might as well have said schmimy schmiddle schmitch, right? Same difference. Come on, we'll talk about it, right? And you'll say, I suppose I agree those words are the way you define them, since they're your words, sure, I guess I am a schmimey schmiddle schmitch. Yeah, so same, slimy little bitch, schmimey schmiddle schmitch. Same thing, right? That's all I'm saying. It's valid, right? They'd say, well, no, that's clearly being bad faith because you're choosing those terms, slimy little bitch, because you know that it'll put impression into the audience and you know what you're doing is bad faith. Oh, you mean like using the term court packing? And changing it before we had one back and forth on the term? Like that? No, it's different when we do it. It's different. I don't want to hear any bullshit about how I'm running from people. I know they're going to say it, and I just don't give a fuck. I know someone right now is watching this that's a fan of them, and I just want to tell you, I do not give a fuck. I went to their channel today. I did 11 hours with them on their syllabism with their fucking moderator and wrecked them. I went to their channel today, Bisco's channel, with 3 of them there. And Avi could say I wasn't going to jump in. Maybe not. Maybe you would have felt you had to as a bystander or moderator. Whatever. After they were talking shit, saying I was running, didn't want to do it. That's it. You had your chance. Goodbye. I'm not going to let these motherfucking people suck up any more of my time. Pisco, if you had any sense, you'd get the fuck away from this guy because he's making you insufferable and he's not helping you as a debater. You were much better before you were listening to this dude. When you weren't trying to be slimy and form syllogisms as narrowly tailored as possible with 5 or 6 proprietary definitions, you look like an asshole. You're better when you would just... The old bit 2 years ago, Pisco would have made an argument about court packing. You'd have been wrong. You'd have lost the debate. But you wouldn't have sounded as unreasonable like a fucking idiot. And this dude's got you believing like, oh yeah, man, we're just smarter than all them. That's what's going on. Everybody thinks you look like a fucking idiot except your own fans. But trust me, bro, that's just because we're the only ones arguing the way you're supposed to. Okay, dude. You keep it up. So I'm done. I'm done with them. But it's not just them. And I want to be clear about this. It's like, who was it in the video we were watching yesterday? One of the fucking litany. America is too cowardly to have a debate on race. That's what these fuckheads do. The debate has to be exactly on their terms. When we say you're too cowardly to have a conversation on race, what we really mean is you have to start with our belief that the country's systemically racist and race affects everything and blah, 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 blah. And that's how these spaces, by the way, have been so many times on the right here. And this is what Andrew Wilson was telling me fucking years ago. It's like, it's all bullshit. They set up these panels and they have blacklist and it's set up this way and that way. And I showed you the debate the other day to explain this. When I went on Wick's panel and it was all progressive victory people basically, or people aligned with them. And they kept screaming, even though the topic was, why are people losing trust in the system, that me explaining why the system's been corrupt and wrong wasn't on topic. Instead, it was just about solutions. Go back from a couple nights ago and you can see where I reviewed that debate. This is the way it's been. These spaces, you always had to go. I remember bitching 4 years ago. You remember the whole Ted Cruz going to Cancun during COVID? Remember that? There was a blizzard in his district in Texas, but he had some event that he went to in Cancun. I was on like 4 panels in a week. 4 debate panels where that was a central topic. 0 debate panels where Gavin Newsom locked down his population, went to the French Laundry. Or Mario Bowser, or not Bowser, what was the name of the woman from Chicago that looked like Beetlejuice? Where she was called out for going to a hair salon as she told other people in Chicago they weren't allowed to go to hair salons. That's what it's always been. Argue under their terms. The platforms were all on their side. You had to jump through hoops. You couldn't question the 2020 election. You couldn't question the fucking insane gender ideology. You couldn't question COVID. So the platform's already skewed against them. It's already prioritizing the people on the left and censoring or demonetizing the people on the right. Then you go into the fucking Twitch poll spaces or the debate panel spaces, and almost all of them are ran by left-wingers, tailoring the topics exactly how they want it. Lori Lightfoot, that was the Chicago. She said, hygiene matters to me. I'm the face of the city. I have to look good. Well, it's not working. They could try. I ain't kneeling shit. That's the way it's been. So I'm not playing their fucking game anymore. You want to just debate? Fine. You want to, well, we're going to do it with this moderator who's going to weigh in, and it's, then my coach, and I'm going to ask to have my coach call in, and then I'm just going to get you in contact with him so he could give you some advice on how I was right, and then he's going to tell everyone you're a coward when you don't accept the advice, and we're going to do a big coat fest where he's saying that in my channel. Okay, fuck you guys. That's it. I don't care. I don't need these people. You see, unlike them, I'm capable of keeping somewhat of an audience. Just sitting here talking about issues myself. I could find people to debate. I don't need them. And I'm tired of jumping through the fucking hoops. I don't mind that Pisco wants to do a cope stream. That's fine. Who gives a fuck? Everybody does that. Fine. It was embarrassing for him, but fine. But the whole, your boy, your coach, saying that I'm running from him because I don't want his advice, and then me coming on being like, all right, let's talk. Well, you have to agree to these rules and blah, blah, blah. Sorry, that's just how it's going to be. Okay. Then agree to this to debate me. There. Got it? After all, I'll say this. When you want to debate me, go fuck yourself. Now, you might be upset with that, but after all, it's just an utterance. Just like all they said was utterances, right? That's all. No need to get upset in it. One of many utterances. How the fuck do we even know what it means? Oh, these utterances. And they could be like, well, will you explain the utterance? And I'll say, sure, with a bunch of other utterances. I don't know how else to explain it. Meanwhile, keep waiting for me to get back to you about the debate. Ain't happening. Done. Done with that shit. And I mentioned this earlier. It was nice to go out on top and fucking rescue Pisco in that debate. I'm glad that happened. But at some point, you just have to realize these are people that are trying to suck on to people that have more influence than them. Same reason Pisco will be like, hey, Dave Portnoy, would you like to have a conversation? And then when Dave doesn't respond to him, he's like, yeah, you fucking bitch. You fucking coward. Blah, 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 blah. Right. Pisco needed Daddy Destiny, and that didn't work out. And so now they're trying to glom on to people that they think could get them some sort of eyeballs on them. Well, have fun with that, man. What does it matter anyways? Just utter what you want into the wind, and I'm sure people will take it how they want, and your message will be resoundingly heard. It's lonely at the top, they said. Oh, yeah, they're at the top, all right. Pisco could have said, I don't think he's running from you because, by the way, that whole chat I'm on with Ask Yourself, Pisco's in that group. He could have been like, this is unreasonable. He ain't running from you. He just said he doesn't want your advice. Nothing wrong with that. Nah, he didn't say a word. They ain't brought him on the cope stream. Same old shit. Okie dokie. I want to debate because I actually believe the things I said. I want to debate because I know I'm on the right side of those issues. I want to debate someone like Visco because I know after an average person sees what he's muttering through in 11 hours there to justify basically, well, my preferences are the Democrats just control everything, that they'll be like, wow, that's fucking shitty. What a shitty position. I'm happy that I proved that. That's why I left the debate up. I've been putting clips of the debate the whole time. Go ahead, go watch the full 11-hour debate. I'm perfectly happy with it. I thought I did awesome. I thought there were so many moments where he looked so fucking bad that we won't even be able to clip them all. We could clip that one fucking debate and bad Pisco moments in 10-minute chunks till the end of the fucking year, and we would have material. Not up on his channel yet, though, is it? I know he's like, oh, fuck it, I'll get that video up. Well, he's on vacation, not putting other videos up. Got it, dude. This whole fucking debate space, man. All these people are like this. The whole Brian Shaprio bullshit. Oh, when you call in, I don't want to debate any ethics or whatever. Great. I don't normally do that. Right out of the gate, talking about ethics. Okay? That shit goes south fast. Getting a text message from that little bitch. I'm out with Jack Posobiec and Michael Knowles around Christmas. What are you doing? Fuck you, man. What is this? Maybe I'm totally fucking irrelevant. Maybe tomorrow no one will watch me. Okay, I'll go get a fucking job. It's okay. I did it most of my life. I'm 41, and I finally have somewhat of an audience. That's all right. I don't mind. At least I'm on here talking about what I really believe. Great job, Brian Shaprio. You got a real successful fucking radio show there, man. Everybody loves you. Only we can't seem to find any of those fans. They don't show up online, that's for damn sure. And one by one, the people you say are like your boys, like Michael Knowles, are like, what the fuck are you talking about? I like debating people in their areas of expertise. Remember that economist, left-wing economist, Noah Smith? Yeah, let's do it. Let's do an economic debate. Boy, he was well-respected in the field of economics. Sure. My fucking economic genius? No, I'm a fucking redneck. I was making like $16 an hour at the time. I ain't a fucking sophist. I'm not saying, well, the words don't mean what you're actually saying they're meaning. That ain't me. You can think I'm fucking wrong. If anything, you could say I'm too simple. And then there's all the fucking drama that you deal with the online scene. It's fucking insufferable. It really is. I want to be clear. I have objectively got my ass kicked in debates. When I was in collegiate debate, I knew what the rules were. I thought some of them were real dumb, but I agreed to them by participating in the activity. And at the top level, when I made it to maybe top 70 team in the country, the top 30 teams would have fucked me up 95 out of 100 times. No doubt in my mind. And it happened. We probably won 55 to 60% of our debates my final year when we were best. Sometimes you'd lose and didn't think you really lost. Other times you get your ass kicked and you know it. We had plenty of those. So I'm not saying, well, I'm the greatest debater that's ever existed. I don't lose. That ain't what I'm saying. I'm pretty fucking good. And my strong suit is less things that had to do with the formal debate that I was doing in college and more communicating to people, average people. But I throw my hat in the ring. I don't give a fuck. And I'm constantly treated like this. Remember the whole Destiny debacle? I'm on a 14-day, it wasn't just work. I was on work for like 13 days and then I had a thing with my family and then back to work. The whole thing was like 15 days that I was away from home. Destiny messaged me, want to debate definition of insurrection? Sure, man, but I'm going to be gone for like 10 days or so. So I can't really do research. That's cool. As soon as I get home, when do you want to do that? Tonight? Sure. Okie dokie. We do it. I have one condition. If we're going to talk about this, can we also talk about the topic I want? So I'm happy to talk about the definition of insurrection, but I want to talk about how the definition is a two-tier system that's used one way when it's right-wing insurrections and another when it's left-wing. That's what I want to talk about. 4 fucking hours and change, I debate Destiny on the definition of insurrection. Then as soon as we get to my part, within 15 minutes, he fucking rage quits. Then he tells everyone the reason he rage quit was something that had occurred 3 hours before that I used AI. Something that goofy fuck, if he doesn't use AI, he's certainly, as Pisco admitted, looking at messages that people are sending him during the debate, which is worse than this using AI yourself. He agreed with the conclusion that we reached based on my view of AI. But that's the shit I do. Little old me, jumping into fucking debates with no prep, with big streamers who are getting tons of help, talking about their topic that they want for 4 hours, and then they rage quitting me as soon as we get to what I want to talk about. Oh well, another day in the life of me. And I mentioned this the other day when people were like, well, the whole Richard Spencer, Andrew Wilson, why is Andrew Wilson a stickler for rules? Because the shit that happens to me is what happens if you're like, fuck it, I don't care. I just want to talk to people. I just want to debate people. This is what happens. This sort of bullshit. It's the same in the fucking real world, too, outside of this online shit. The little bubble that the left's in, the preconditions they put on. Like, oh, yeah, they'll talk to Scott Jennings when it's 9-on-1 on CNN, and Abby Phillips, you know, the host of the show, is constantly making excuses for the people Scott Jennings has been. Guess what? He's still fucking wrecking them most of the time. That's what these spaces are. What are they doing in Europe? Well, let's censor social media. That's the problem. Not that some fucking migrant tried to behead someone. Don't let people talk about it. That's the real issue. And by the way, if you get too good at it, then we'll blow your fucking head off. Ask Charlie Kirk. We're an hour into the show. I'll take super chats, and I'm going to keep yelling like an old man. Just a grump-ass old man. But I sort of like being a grump-ass old man. Super chats. The Great Blasterbot. Thank you for the hundo. Unbelievable. What a legend says. I think I get the concept of the utterances Rob is making. The Carnian Pluvial episode was caused by the massive volcanic eruptions from the Rangelia Large Igneous Province off the coast of what would become North America, releasing CO2 and evaporating water, leading to rain. Unbelievable. Well, that utterance was amazing. Napa, $50. Thank you, my friend. Unbelievable. Says, for the 11-hour Pisco debate. Wore me out just watching. Yeah. And the best part, they do that, and all the little, wait, the interruptions, the constant deflections, and they're like, do you see how bad faith Rob is? What the fuck are you talking about? You insisted I debate these syllogisms. I did the entire fucking time. You're constantly fucking, and I know I interrupt at points too. At some point you got to. When you're fucking rolling around with pigs, you're going to get muddy too. But it's clear where it's all starting. Zach Gelpy, $10. Thank you. Says, hey, do you think this is a new tactic for leftist debaters? It seems like a very similar thing. Happened last night where the woman wanted to narrow the focus of the debate as well. It is. They are. They're talking to the Philbro people. And look, it does make sense. I tell people that in the no prep debate. Now, the no prep debate has a little more gamesmanship to it. That's sort of the intent. But I was like, if you're doing that, if you narrowly tailor the fucking topic, you could beat me easily. Now, the whole point is, if you make it so ridiculous that there's no possible negative, I'm going to be like, well, I don't know what to say. But that's certainly what's going on. I'll be like, yeah, here's what I think should happen politically. And they'll be like, well, here's what we think should happen politically, but we don't want to debate that. We just want to debate this particular syllogism. That's not what we want to have happen. What they forget is that despite that the sort of what they've set out, at least what these Philbros have set out, which is, well, these are the valid forms of logic, and this is how a proper syllogism's constructed, et cetera, that only goes so far as your audience agreeing with you. And if they don't, that's just one tool that you could use. They're so hyper-focused on that. Again, I could do the same. I could say, I insist the debate, I'm going to bring on a former policy debate coach, and he's going to say, the format's that. You have to engage just like that. The linear debate style of that. You have to flag post every argument. If you don't answer, you get like a 9-minute chunk to talk. If you don't answer something, then it's conceded. We could do that. Would that make you feel like, oh, Rob's dominant? You'd say, so what? Who gives a fuck? I'm some dude living in Oklahoma. I want my taxes to go down. I care about my country. What the fuck is this? And the whole thing's set up. You could stomach it if they weren't massaging the rules to benefit themselves constantly. Well, I could just change the syllogism. No problem. What's the problem in that? I just arbitrarily change the definition of word whenever I feel like it. Moderator's going to tell me, oh, yeah, there's good reason to be able to do that. See? All the fucking... And Ryan Mullally nailed it when he debated Pisco, and I knew it too. It's all just this. It's just fucking smoke and mirrors, to make it sound, I guess, after constant interruptions, and no, you can only talk about the syllogism with the words that I've changed the definitions of and all that. Wouldn't that technically make it valid? And but no, we can't talk about the other things that I've said in the past. No, can't talk about, no, we can't talk about any of that, After all that, hours of that, you walk away thinking, I don't know, I'm confused. I guess maybe packing the court's not that bad. See, it's not extreme. It's not an extreme position. Even you agree. Even if you don't think it's a good idea, it's not extreme, right? Pat Fricker, $10 says, the problem with logic is that it's not the end goal. It is the map to the territory. These White Tower turds get the two confused. Thank you, Pat Fricker. I agree. Searsight, $5 says, good evening, Rob. Good evening to you. Always appreciate it. The Crustable. What's happening, man? We talked about Crustables. Thank you. And then Naughty Germ, $5. Thank you as always, my friend. Over on Rumble, Win Slagon, $5 says, hey, Rob, great to hear from you. How the Rumble crew doing tonight? Kicking YouTube's ass? Not yet. They're down about $170, but. And then J-Stagin, or J-Stag-N, monthly supporter, thank you so much. Says, hey, Rob, hope everything's going well. Became a fan after seeing you in the extravaganza. Keep up the great content discussions, thinking out loud, etc. God bless from California. Thank you. Really appreciate that. Remember, get your super chats in. I'm so fucking naive. I'm still naive after years of doing this and even more years of being involved in politics, even at just a novice level. I still think two people arguing, good faith, talking about what they really believe. But that's not it, is it? On an even playing field. Nope. Okay. Even this. I don't. All these fucking people I debated, right down the list. From fucking Destiny to Vosh to all of them. I'm not wishing them ill in their life. If you're a fucked up person, you've committed sex crimes or something, yeah, fuck you. You should be held accountable. Largely, what you put out in the world, there should be some sort of justice in the world. But when it comes to just debate, I've been pretty good at keeping it most of the time, just to the fucking issue at hand. Not attacking people's family and shit like that. I'm not perfect. I've dipped my toe in some drama shit, don't get me wrong. But man, it's always something with these motherfuckers. What the fuck do they need? How many people do they need to debate me? How many? 30? 40? Not that fucking smart. I ought to do fucking research like I used to in my 20s when I was doing policy debate in college. I'd fuck people up even more. Hitakachi, thanks for the 10 on Rumble. It says, Rob, is it bad to be jaded and think the right should play ball as they have? No. Not at all. If it gets to the point where I find that it's becoming unreasonable, I'm like, fuck you, I don't want to deal with you anymore. I understand it. I understand the right thing. I'm going to keep doing me. That's it. And you guys could talk shit on someone like Nick Fuentes or anyone else that's not a psychopath on the right. I'll guarantee if I sit down with Nick Fuentes on a debate tomorrow on like Israel's influence and or whether or not we should vote Democrat, it wouldn't be bullshit. Well, I've changed the definition of words, and I insist the moderator, I want it to be someone that like agree. It wouldn't be that, would it? You might think Nick's an asshole. His arguments are shit. He's fucking a bad person. But at least you can have a conversation. The lady last night, it was refreshing, and she was pretending to be, I don't think it was a political targeting of Trump when they went after Trump. I mean, even that, and the bar's so low, it's like a refreshing conversation. Well, she did mention she saw my debate with Destiny, and I'm assuming probably was. Are we going to wake up to the fact that with the left, with the vast majority of them, even the ones that I'm interacting with, even the ones you're interacting with, at the end of the day, it's quite simple. They're good people, we're bad people, they deserve power, we don't. That's it. That's really all it comes down to. That's it. The immigrants are good people. Fuck you if you don't like them. We don't give a shit. Fuck you. You shouldn't be allowed to bitch about it. Fuck off. Blacks are victims of systemic racism. If they're all over online now saying they should have the right to stab white people or beat the shit out of white people, that's just the way the system has to be. I say, fuck you. That's what I say. Go fuck yourself. My well, yes, everything's just an even platform. I'm willing to do this with all sorts of people. And the failures that rings of seeing just how bad these people in life is the same, it's just a microcosm of the same fucking problem we have civilizationally. Where so many people of our culture are like, sure, yeah, man, we're welcoming, we'll trust, yeah, we're willing to hear you out. We don't want to be too harsh. Our opponents aren't playing by the same set of rules. Megamax, thanks, man. $10 says all Phil Bro shit only works in environments where the Phil Bro knows nobody's going to give his face a good smash and then be forced to debate that he did in fact get smashed in Minecraft. Nah, I wouldn't suggest violence, but old Joe, thanks for 10 months using my milestone chat to say down with avarice. That's as good as anything to say. Mm. Shapria was shit on Tim Pool, huh? You say hate monger. I would have guessed that. I thought this time he would have broke the trend and been absolutely amazing. Really? It's so hard to believe he wouldn't have sounded good. He's so articulate and smart. Right? It's learn our principles are for moral people. They don't apply to people who have no principles. I don't know. It's at some point, what do you say? If I say, here's my. But I'm still having a good time. I have bigger fish to fry. That's the truth. And even if I didn't, who gives a shit? How's it going? Not too shabby, top shelf. I love the fact that when I'm going to debate someone, there's so much prep going into it. How much time do you think Pisco and Ask Yourself prepped for that debate? Whether it be just the syllogism in general or for the debate with me specific. And then how much coping afterwards? But what are you all thinking? What's on your mind this evening? I've said my piece. Unfortunately, I was supposed to have a no prep debate tonight, and whatever happened, the person's still prepping. No prep for me, not for them. That's how it works out. So, Caleb Blake's trains. Trains are cool. Hey, Bunker says Pride Shapiro almost demanded to see Phil's penis. Phil, no! You don't want to go through your own penis gate. We'll just do a good old-fashioned ask me anything. Of course, if you super chat your question and the more money with it, it goes to the top of the priority list. What's going on with Word War? Is it over now or what? It is transitioned to doing more online debate type stuff. And as far as I know, they have a tournament set up. I told them I would be willing to moderate to some degree. Full disclosure, we had a conversation about like a contract or something like that. And I was like, look, I'm very busy. I can't put forth the commitment I put to the in-person Word War event. I put a lot of time into that behind the scenes. But I would still be happy to work with them and moderate a debate here and there. I wish them well. I have no reason to dislike them or anything. And in fact, Nate from Word War was in the chat the other day and said he'd give me a call soon to see if I could moderate a debate or two with him, which I said, sure, I have no problem. How do you feel with people who make assertions and then call you the idiot for asking questions? Frustrating. Riot coverage this weekend? I don't know. No, I got the Blaster Bot Dino Gate invitation. Dino Gate. I'm screwing up my words. Dino Battle Invitational. Have I seen a therapist for whipsawing induced psychosis? No. I should do that. You want to send some OnlyFans nudes? What addy do I send them to? Go fuck yourself at gmail.com. Rob, weren't they using the first Word War event to try to cut it into some kind of show pilot? I don't know about that. I mean, the idea was, I think they would have been more than happy to make it a recurring event and maybe get some distribution, but I don't know that that was the goal per se. I think the goal was just to have a good event. And, you know, I'll be straight up. I won't mince words. There are a lot of problems with that event. So, I think that retooling and focusing more online, probably the right thing until you get your sea legs beneath you and then make sure that there's no problems. But there was a lot of problems like on the production end. There were problems with the facility, although it was a very cool facility. Like there was little shit like it was freezing in there for one thing. There's problems with the lighting and shit like that. That was like sort of outside the scope to some degree of the production team. But you know, there were debaters that they thought they had signed that didn't show, and you know, but well, it was great to meet you, and I know our Andrew was originally supposed to go. So a lot of word questions. It's weird. I mean, I'm wearing the hat. It's a damn comfortable hat, let me say. I enjoy the hat. Do I think that Word War should have seen that coming? You can't take a bunch of people with their own algorithm to keep up with and expect them to schedule unless they lay premium. Yeah, I think they should have foresaw that there was going to be more problems. My feelings is this. If I agree to work with an organization, I'm going to do my job to the best of my ability and try to obviously give input, but stay within the confines of what my role is. Role is, not rule. And that's what I tried to do. And I was happy to do it. And to be honest, the people I worked with, there were a lot of people I had a really good time working with there. So, and I got to meet people that I like Gavin Kinnis, I like Sam Tripoli, got to meet them. Eddie Bravo was there, got to meet him. That was cool. You know, how much do you know about Warhammer? And when will you give Ryan a quick crash course so he understands its references? I know next to nothing about Warhammer. I have one Warhammer game on my computer, but the lore of the world is confusing to me. So I can't help you with Ryan much. Not a question, bro. I got to tell you, I love hearing you have logical discussions about general topics. But hearing you get emotional and righteous when necessary is amazing. Keep killing it, man. Thank you. Have I ever considered making an appearance on the Whatever podcast? I'm not sure if it's your sphere, but I feel like it would be an interesting episode. Double with Andrew. I don't know. I don't know what I would have to say. I feel like in that sort of environment, I'm a very general person. Like there's shit. Look, I'm not shitting on Brian Atlas or anyone that does the show. That's not what I'm doing, because there's a market for everything and there's utility. But I'm not. What am I going to do? Sit there and like rate everyone's looks? It ain't me. Basically, I would just be like, man, you're going to have kids someday, and you're fucking people online for money. Or I'd be able to, argue against feminism in general. But there are people that do that much better than me and in a much more entertaining way. So I don't know how good I would be. Now, I know Brian was setting up like one-on-one debates. That I would do, no problem. But as far as the big panel type, I don't know. Like, I don't think I would be particularly good on that or like on Fresh and Fit. I don't know. For me, it's not my thing. I'm not shitting on those people. I'm not. I like Brian, what I've seen from him. I like Myron, but it's not my thing. That's all. Do I have any special technique for keeping track of arguments in a debate? For example, were you able to seemingly recall that Pisco said hours and hours ago in the last debate? I don't know. I have a very poor memory in real life, but throughout the debate, I don't know. I think no, to answer your question, I don't have a special technique. I think what it is more is, it's like how a chess player could close their eyes and they could see the board. They'll do blind simultaneous, which is still, to me, one of the most insane things ever. So a simultaneous is when one chess player will play like 10 games at the same time. So he'll go to this board, and he'll make his move, then go to the next board and make his move. And meanwhile, the opponents are each sitting there the whole time, and then they get to make their move whenever they want. And that's a simultaneous. A blind simultaneous is they literally are wearing a blindfold. So they've memorized the board and where all the pieces have moved on board 1 and board 2 and board 3. That's incredible. To even one board blind is incredible. But to do it that many times, and I think probably, I'm guessing, I've never heard anyone talk about this, I think one of the ways that it probably works for them is because it's a game. Because it's not just like here's a picture, memorize it. It's here's a picture and it's going to help you win this thing you're doing. So now you're not looking at it just this still thing. It's like has life, because you're like, So for me, it's like the reason I remember shit is because I'm like, well, this is the argument I'm making now. How did I get here? Because this was said and this was said and this was said and this was said. And you said this an hour ago. So I guess the way that I'm able to recall it is because when I'm contemporaneously speaking, I am saying things that are relevant to the conversation that we've had up to that point. And so it helps me most times keep in mind what's been said. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's the best I can explain it. Megamax, $10 says, also, if for Pisco to debate, he requires all these rules in his favor, proprietary definitions and narrow syllogisms, how can his beliefs positions actually stand on their own and not look really weak? Yeah, totally agree. When am I going to make dinosaur content again? Saturday, baby! The Blaster Bot Dino Battle Invitational for $50 a crack. You could enter in. I'll show you a little example of what that's going to look like here later. I have to find tomorrow a bracket, so like a system where I could set up brackets, because I'll have to write each entrant's name plus the dinosaur they got. So it should be fun. Brian Shaprio wants to know how long your peen is. No comment. Whatever's not a good place. Totally agree. My scale for women. I love my wife. I think she's beautiful and amazing and the best woman I've ever met. And I don't want any other woman. That's my scale. I could look and see a woman that I think is objectively pretty. I could do the same with a guy. I could say, yeah, that's a handsome guy, sure. But my preferences probably aren't the same as everyone else's preferences. Like, I don't particularly like a lot of these models that are supposedly beautiful that are like super thin, not my style, but teach their own. So I don't know. One-on-one with Erudite offered. That Sarah Tomato reached out to her before Sarah was suing me, and Erudite wasn't interested. Have you ever had to argue a point you disagreed with and done so well you accidentally changed your own opinion? Yeah. In collegiate debate, that happened a couple times. So I was way more libertarian at the time, and we just call the argument coercion was the argument you would make. And there were times that people would run coercion that I started to get less libertarian, looking at the evidence against, like that it's okay to compel people to do things at certain times. Outside the scope of collegiate debate, I don't know. It's tough because most of what I do here, I'm able to just sort of talk about what I want. Oh, sure. Would you guys mind if Ryan Mullally comes on for a minute? I'm going to miss some of your AMAs. Oh, there's Ryan. Okay. I think everybody likes Ryan. I like Ryan. Ryan, I'll send you a StreamYard link. Unless you sent me one. I don't care. Oh, boy, it's asking for my passcode? What the hell is going on here? What are we doing? All right. Well, Ryan comes up here. I'm going to head to the restroom real quick. By the way, I decided I like these headphones more. I think Ryan has the same fucking headphones as me. The guy's copying everything. Copying my debate positions. Copying my headphone. I think he has the same mic as me. Go ahead. We'll see when he comes on. Here, entertain them, Ryan. I'll be right back again. Look at that. Same headphones. What mic are you using?
Yeah. I got a Shure. Hold on.
Ah! If you're driving a Subaru Ascent, that's it. You're right. This is like some weird, like Fatal Attraction thing. You're just taking over my life. Is that what's happening?
Rob, that actually is my plan. I'm hoping to slowly but surely infiltrate your spaces, Rob. And my final plan, I'm going to replace my background with your background and my chair with your chair. I've heard that you're replacing your chair. It's coming to me, buddy.
Listen, if you really want to commit, shave your head, man. Get it. Commit. Do it. Go the full way. Shave the head.
That's what I need. How come I don't have any word war debate swag? That's I think.
What I was going to ask that. They didn't. I mean, dude, they had hats laying around. I could have grabbed you one.
I've got.
Aren't you moderating a debate for them?
I've done like 2 this week. I'll do another one tomorrow.
Tell them you want a hat.
Yeah, I'll be like, well, first I'll be like, send me a check, but then I'll
money first, but then the hat.
Money buys hats, Rob.
Send the cash in a hat. That's fine. Send it. The UPS will deliver. So, how did you feel? Like, did you feel good getting coped about for 4 hours?
I mean, this is my thing, man. I know that, like, and by the way, I'm gonna probably drop stream in like 15, 20 minutes. So I don't need to take your whole night or anything. But like, I don't understand, man. Like, this debate. The debate I had with him was like in May. It was like May 28th, I think, if I recall correctly. Like, how could it be the case that you think I did terribly in that debate and you're doing cope streams weeks later? You know, I mean, like, if you think I did that bad, why are you still doing cope streams? And then, like, that's to say nothing of the 11 hours you spent with him. Like, I mean, like, what possibly could have been said about his syllogism that wasn't said in an 11-hour debate? Like, what the fuck is there to talk about at this point? I'll be honest with you. I put up in my chat today, I said, like, choose your own adventure stream, because I just did the word war debate and I was going to do a short stream after. I was like, do you want me to I mean, do you care? Do you want me to debunk Pisco's syllogism, or do you want me to look at an old Nick Rekieta video and comment on that? And they were like, "Fuck Pisco, Nick Rekieta, we're done. We don't care." Like, I mean, who cares? It's in the books, man.
I am like, now listen. First off, I'll say this: the Cope stream's fine. We talked about the debate. Of course, It was like a day after. That's fine. You know, I had different issues with what went on, but I'm of the mindset at this point. I'm just over it with those people. I'm done with them. I just am. And it's the gamesmanship of it that I'm just like, you know, the idea that set up the debate with a moderator that you know's your coach's boy that's going to intervene like with these formal rules of logic, you know, all that shit. Then
so ask yourself, is Pisco's logic coach, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I was trying to figure out who this motherfucker was.
Get a refund, you know.
Yeah,
he's not doing so good.
Good to have that confirmed.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you'd say coach or whatever, but he's working with them. It was funny because I heard them say today, I knew the stream was going on. I did. I saw you posted and I was tagged and I was like, oh, okay. You know, but I was like, I don't give a fuck. Good. Go ahead, talk about it. I'm still like, why isn't the debate on his channel? He didn't put that up yet. It's been like 8 days since the debate. Put it up if you're going to be talking about it. Let people see. Anyways, I'm sure he'll get around to it. But the point is, like, someone was like, the only thing that got my attention is when they were like, oh, Ask Yourself said you're running from him. And the whole thing was you could tell it was facetious. Pisco after the debate's like, hey, here's my buddy Ask Yourself. And he, you know, I thought I'd put you two in contact in a 3-person group. And then he's like, it sounded like you could use some help on like this part of the debate. Now, I'm not interested in your boy to cover for you. You got your ass kicked in the debate and your boy trying to come in and smooth it over. This whole idea that I'm supposed to look at these people as like, they're like, oh, we're all students and they're teachers. Now go fuck yourself. You suck. You fucking suck. You suck. And you had your chance to talk after you said I was running because I didn't want your advice. And then I said, okay, I'll debate you. No, I don't want to do that. I'll debate you on just the things you've said to me. No, I don't want to do that. I'll debate you on the thing you're talking about, how Pisco used it in a bad way. Nah, I don't want to do that. I want you to have to agree to basically just let me lecture 3 rules of this to you, and then you're not allowed to say how it was applied in the debate or Pisco used it wrong. I suppose I could be like, yeah, I have a textbook over here, the Constitution. I want to just read 3 chapters to you, Ryan. You're not allowed to disagree. Not allowed to disagree. I'm just going to read 2 chapters. Just listen. I'm willing to have that conversation. And if you don't like it, you're running. That's it. And I'm sure you'll agree anyways with what the textbook says. It's like, yeah, I don't give a shit, you know. I don't care. And that's what pissed me off, this whole nature of like accusing me of running. It's like, okay, I'm here. Now it's all 3 of them there. I don't give a fuck. I'll wreck them again. Bring me in. Well, wait, there has to be rules after we said you're a coward and you're running and now you show up to our stream. Blah, 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 blah. So I just said, I was like, I'm done dealing with Pisco. I'm done dealing with your Ask Yourself. Avi seems better, but I'm just done with that whole crowd. It's all this bullshit gamesmanship. How do we form this syllogism and make sure we have this moderator? And, you know, fuck you people.
Yeah,
I'm done with them.
I've only had positive interactions with Avi, so
yeah. But here's the thing. His explanation.
Can I tell you a funny story?
Yeah,
it made me laugh. So I had connected dots because a week or 2 ago, right after the debate, I did a call-in show. And when you do a call-in show, you often have like StreamYard's maxes out at 10 people. So you got like 10 people backstage, right? And you're doing them one after another. It's you got nothing. It's not like you're waiting for people. You got like a whole people lined up. So this guy shows up on my stream called Isaac the Kind. Every other caller's talking about the Pisco debate or court packing, right? And some of them love Pisco and some of them love me, and I'm, whatever. That's the show. Isaac wants to talk about philosophy in this conversation I with Lance Bush. I have no idea who fucking Isaac the Kind is. So he's just a caller, right? So the guy starts talking over me. And I'm like, careful. And he keeps talking over me. So I'm like, next caller. Right? Because like it's my call-in show. I'm not like, if you're talking over me, I just go to the next person. I don't have to fucking listen to you. Like, move on. That turns out to be Ask Yourself. So part of the reason he's so mad is that I just booted him off my show for being rude. I didn't even know who the fuck he was. He was using a different name. But anyway, that's the debate coach right there.
Yeah, I mean, look, maybe he's very good at what he does. I don't know. I know this. He comes across as an insufferable asshole. He's, DMing me. Pisco said something to DM. Hey, let me help you out with this. No, thank you is all I said. Why not? I just don't feel like it. Well, maybe later. Nah, I don't think I'll feel like it later. But thanks for offering. Why are you so resistant? I'm trying to help you. I'm like, why are you insistent? I'm politely saying no, thank you. And you could just tell the way he was so insistent. Maybe like a month later, if someone came up, I said, oh yeah, that guy offered. But he was so insistent, and I knew he was Pisco's boy. And it's like, now what's going on here? After, at first I took it at face value. Who offered help? I said, no, thanks. I assumed he'd be like, oh, cool. Offer stands if you ever want it. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't give a fuck if he agrees with Pisco or not. No problem with saying, hey, I have some advice for you. Would you like it? But when someone's like, no, I'm good. You're just like, fair enough. But no, not this guy. He kept insisting until the point where he says, that he's publicly putting on me on his dodging him list. And then if I ever uncuck, he's willing to talk to me. And I was like, I thought you said you were going to be polite. He said, in the call. Oh, just in the call. You would have been polite in the call. And you're just like this is farcical, and you're trying to act like you're some like erudite coach. And it's like, you're just a sack of shit like everyone else, man. I am too, I'll admit. But I ain't calling people I rarely am calling people out like, you're a cook, you're running from me in debate. I don't really do that much. This dude asked me if I wanted his help. I said no. Then when I publicly say, okay, let's debate, he's like, no. And then people are like, isn't that you running? No, because I just didn't agree to the topic. But you said I was running because not only did I not agree with the topic, it wasn't a debate. It was just you offering to help. And you consider that. Boy, there's a guy that's going to talk to you about sophist and how we need to reject them, right?
Also, just as like a practical level, like, I don't know, audience, I don't know how many of you lead public lives or semi-public lives where you talk on the internet. But if you talk on the internet, you get a lot of unhinged DMs. I'm just going to be honest about that. You get a lot of fucking unhinged DMs, right? So like, I also got an unhinged DM from this guy. I connected the dots later. At the time, I didn't really fucking understand who it was, but like now I know this is Ask Yourself. Pisco's logic coach is the same guy as Isaac the Kind. I put the pieces together, but like, why would I respond positively to like a super unhinged DM? You know what I mean? Like, you cuck, you're running. Like, okay, like, all right, well, moving on with my life. What are his credentials? Is there some reason that he's positioning himself as like a logic coach? Is that like a?
I have no idea. I really don't. And again, I want to be clear. Maybe the dude's got like a PhD. That's all fine. I don't know. I know in this case he's wrong in his defense of Pisco, right? I understand that, like, just like I could listen to a modern artist tell me why the fecal matter they just throw on the canvas is really art, and they'll be able to go through, you don't understand the history of like this famous sculptor in 1693 said this, and philosophers. I get it, and it'll sound good. I still think it's shit in a canvas. That's it. That's how I feel, right? And you could wax on poetic all you want about it. Like what Pisco's doing, are there meta tactics that he's using that could be utilized in other debates that you would say, oh, I see the utility? Sure. But it's obvious what Pisco's doing. He is taking words, claiming their utterances, having proprietary definitions to shoehorn them into a syllogism, which he'll be willing to change, insisting you only debate the syllogism and not his feelings in real life, which are well beyond the scope of the syllogism that he's admitting. And then when you point out, and even in my debate, his moderator, Avi, was like, yeah, your argument is not sound. He's like, okay, we'll just change the syllogism. No problem. I'm like, you lose the debate then, right? No. Why? No. I could just change. The focus of the debate should be, is my syllogism correct? But if it's incorrect, I'll just say I change it. But you're not allowed to talk about things outside the scope of the syllogism. So the whole thing, it's obviously designed. And I'm okay with some dude that does logic, like, well, I want to use that for my political beliefs or to help my boy. Perfectly reasonable. But to the point where you're going to be like, well, you're running from me, you need to uncuck. By the way, I would be interested in when this dude started working with Pisco, because I think Pisco's become such a worse debater in the past year. I really do. I used to have conversations with him that were like normative, and now it's like, my brief interaction with this Ask Yourself guy and his DM is very similar to watching Pisco on X.
Oh,
Pisco,
yeah.
He'll go
but Rob, I think you might appreciate this. Nick Rakita just joined my chat, and he's given us this prescription. Pisco's problem is a lack of testosterone and correctness. So I don't know.
That's hard to overcome. When you're both wrong and don't have testicles, very difficult. As a man to overcome that. Yeah. Nick Rakita, I've never actually talked to Nick. I remember watching him debate Destiny once on the alternate electors, and it was very persuasive. I enjoyed his thoughts on that. But nonetheless, like, the thing that's so frustrating is I think that I might be wrong. I'm unsophisticated. Like, I'm not a lawyer. I debate a lot of things that are in the legal world. I've been wrong. I've been corrected by people that agree or disagree with me. But I'm at least giving my honest opinions. And, you know, to watch these people, like, watching Pisco, like, deal with, this is an average, like, X interaction with Pisco. Hey, Dave Portnoy, I saw you said this. Love to have you on my show. Maybe we could discuss that at some point. And then Dave will either respond like, man, no thanks, blah, 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 or he just won't respond. And then Bisco will be like, you fucking cuck, you bitch, you fucking loser, you fucking coward. And I've talked to Pisco, like, offline and been like, hey, man, are you trying to act like Destiny or something? It's not working, dude. Like, you sound your best when you're just like, yeah, I have legal takes and that's fine. He sounds fine when he's doing that shit. But this increased Philbro shit and the super aggro hostility, like, it's one, I've told him, it's one thing for someone like me. I don't give a fuck. You call me a fat fuck, a cuck, I don't care. But you're doing this to, like, actual people with, like, real world, like, sway and things, like a Dave Portnoy. You think that dude's like, oh, he called me a cuck and a coward. I'm going to hop on a fucking Twitter Spaces with this dude. He's going to be like, yeah, block. Fuck this guy. Who is this?
Dave Portnoy, haven't you looked at my syllogism that proves you're a cuck?
Well, I have a proprietary definition of cuck. So I just wanted to say, Dave, you thought it was an insult, but actually cuck to me means you do excellent pizza reviews. That's all I was trying to say, Dave. Like, I just don't give a fuck about these people anymore because, you know, and in that debate, he gives the game away where it's like,
sorry. I'm still stuck on proprietary definition of cuck. You got to give me a second.
Right. At the end of the day, it just comes down to my preferences anyway. So what's the fucking point of it all? Like, I mean, this is what gets me. The dude's a lawyer, right? I expect more from you motherfuckers, you know? I expect you guys to be like, well, I have to draw it, like, linearly through terms that we have mutual agreement on. That's sort of a big part of the law, right? Mm-hmm. Like, if you say someone has committed murder, you have to have a specific definition of what you mean by that. You don't just get, like, I could only imagine, like, a prosecutor being like, well, yeah, he just stabbed the dude in the arm and he lived, but, you know, that's how I kind of look at murder, so fuck it. First degree murder, throw him in prison. Like, it's like, to me, to watch someone that you think has a background would be the opposite of this shit. That would be like be debating in the area of more realism. Just be like, well, I'm an anti-realist and all words are just utterances and they can mean whatever they want. And I'm going to bullshit you for 11 hours, constant interruptions, obfuscations, blah, blah, blah. To at the end of the day, just be like, well, it's just my preference. All words are meaningless anyways. Like,
Cool Vic reviewed the debate I had with Pisco today, and I only watched the first couple minutes, but thank you, Cool Vic. And he highlighted that part where I only spent like 3 minutes on it because I was doing a different thing with Pisco. I didn't want to do pure Philobro stuff. But I said, like, what does justified mean? And the reason I asked him that is because in all his debates, he actually never explains that point. Because what he does, he has this big P1 with like all these compound terms, right? And then it says, if all these are true, if all these is statements are true, then court packing is justified. But justification is a moral claim. It's a claim that you ought do something. You can't you can't go from is to an ought. It's not possible. You have to have you have to have a moral system that's already in place. So then I asked him, like, well, based on what moral system? And he doesn't want to go down that rabbit hole because he knows this is a problem. And that's why if you watch any of the debates, when he explains the argument, he says, oh, it's premised on self-defense. It's this basic self-defense principle. But then if I talk about Republicans wanting to do self-defense, that's not his argument. And the point here, Rob, is that it's a fucking, your debate with him, I found so gratifying personally, because I was like, yeah, it would take 11 hours to unpick and work through the level of obfuscation, proprietary definitions, changing what terms mean. You know, at one point you turned to Avi and said, like, oh, well, he said he needs to have deterrence, but don't you think this would be an incentive, not a deterrent? And Avi's like, yeah, of course. And you're like, okay,
and then he immediately was like, that's not what I mean by deterrence.
Yeah.
And then he changed the definition. This is still one of the...
It's just endless.
Like, there's so many moments in that debate that just... To me, it was like, if you were like, put together a highlight reel of why no one should ever take this guy seriously, it would be that debate. It's just like, there's so many parts. Like I was saying this earlier, if I clip that into 20-minute clips, My editor, Black Elk, would be clipping until January.
Yeah.
He really would. We'd be into 2020. If that's how bad it was. This is the definition he gave for the word deterrence. This is one of the funniest things. He insisted that I not be allowed to read a dictionary definition or a legal definition or anything like that of deterrence. Insisted that I not be allowed because that was like appealing to a dictionary, which is like a fallacy. And here's the definition he gives. Now, normally when you'd be like deterrence and it would like have a statement. Here's how his starts. You ready? Yeah. Deterrence, as used in the argument, is the concept of inducing in the mind of a set of actors knowledge that would tend in a reasonable person. By the way, just keep in mind, each of these words in his definition also are just utterances that can mean whatever he wants. So let's keep going. In the mind of a set of actors, knowledge that would tend to a reasonable person to lower the tendency to partake in a given action, or at least put them on notice of a given consequence. Now, he gave that definition, and then when I was like, Pisco, let me try to say what you're grasping at desperately. What you're really trying to say is, I accept your definition of the word deterrence, Rob, that it's about deterring or stopping people from doing a behavior you don't want. But my argument is, even if you incentivize something in the short term, it could lead to long-term deterrence. And he's basically like, yeah, so he totally scraps this bullshit definition, and now he's back to like, so what was the point of the 40-minute exercise of him being like, well, when I say deterrence, I mean something else? Well, because it doesn't matter. Like, any part of the syllogism that falls through, he's just like, let me just change the definition of that word.
Also,
see,
Rob,
it's still valid.
His definition invalidates the syllogism because his definition says you can't overshoot mild deterrence, and his definition of deterrence includes putting someone on notice. So, do you think court packing would exceed putting people on notice? I think so.
Yeah, but it's an or. Well, and then, Robbie, I know.
If we're going to do logic, bro, an or is satisfied if either side is true, right? So, so he put an or. So, since it's an or, if mild deterrence, if on notice is true, then the definition of deterrence is satisfied. So if we're going to play logic, bro, that definition invalidates his entire argument, which is why I'm sure he was happy to jettison it and go to something else because it doesn't make any fucking sense. But this is beyond the point. Sorry, now I'm just going to rant for a second, if you don't mind.
No,
the thing that fucking kills me about these progressives, right, is it's always variations of the same fucking game, right? Remember when we all realized they're talking about systemic racism, and we're all like, fuck, that sounds real serious. It sounds real bad. And then we all realized, wait a minute. Systemic racism is totally different than actual racism. It's a totally different concept, but they're naming it racism because they want to keep all the moral force and all the implications of the old word while redefining it completely, right? And we all learned this trick, but it's always the same goddamn trick. Pisco wants to argue about court schmacking, but he wants the audience to conclude that court packing is okay. Well, if you want the audience to conclude that court packing is okay, you can't argue about court schmacking. Now we need to have non-proprietary definitions because you're trying to keep all the force and the political implications of the real definition, but you're using some bullshit proprietary definition. That's a problem, right? Like you're making shit up. Like, let's say you prove that court schmacking is okay. Who gives a fuck? What's court schmacking? Nobody knows, right? People want to know if court packing is okay, not a word you define proprietarily in your own mind.
But let me give you an apples to apples compare. Well, I can't say that. As close of a comparison using contemporary like stories that we're talking about. Austin Metcalf, Carmelo Anthony, right? Let's say we were trying to see was what Carmelo Anthony did justified, right? And so you set out a syllogism, and one of the premises in there says, when someone stabs you, you're allowed to stab them back. Right? And what happened to Carmelo Anthony was that Austin Metcalf stabbed him. And you're like, no, he didn't. And you're like, no. When I say stabbed, all I mean is any physical contact came upon the body. Right? And instead of stabbing, let's assume I said schmabbing. Right? If someone schmabs you, you're allowed to schmab them back. Now, I could do the schmud thing. And you'd have to agree. If I say the word schmabbing means someone putting their hands on you, you would have to say it's your word. I accept it, right? Yeah, okay, I guess. Yeah, same thing. So he was schmabbed and he schmabbed him back. What's wrong with that? Now, the reason that they're using the word stabbing there is because they know that there's a concept in people that's like to like an inherent concept of justice. If someone, eye for an eye, right? And so it's like, well, if court packing happened over here, then people are more willing to accept court packing over here. But this isn't court packing into basically what anyone says. So I'll use the word court packing, and this is what he did in the debate with me. He was in his opening statement, before I said a word, and he's like, actually, I'll change the syllogism. Instead of court packing, it might as well say court schmacking. Right, because he knows under a syllogism, if I prove, okay, well, court packing didn't happen, he'll just change it to be like, well, when I say court packing, I mean exactly what happened with Merrick Garland. Exactly what happened to Merrick Garland happened, right? Yeah, I guess. Okay, well, that's what I mean. I just call it court packing. But you can't argue that what happened to Merrick Garland didn't happen, and I define that as court packing. Therefore, court packing happened. And if you don't like the word court packing, if the audience is like, wait a minute, that doesn't sound, whatever, it doesn't matter, call it whatever you want, but that justifies us court packing. And so it's like, everything at that point, it's like, but you can, okay, then why can't I say what happened to Bork was court packing? Nah, because you see, Rob, all that matters is my definition of court packing, which is basically uniquely what happened to Merrick Garland and adding seats to the court. And that wasn't exactly what happened with Bork, therefore we reject it because it's my definition. And you can have your own definition for court packing, that's fine. I just choose to reject it. That's all, Rob. And the whole thing, you're like, what is the fucking utility of this?
Well, then in the
like, real world,
I choose to reject your definition.
Right. But it doesn't matter because then at the end of the day, it's like tomato, tomato. One person thinks it's unreasonable, one thinks it's reasonable. So there you go. It's like, no, that's not what's happening. Yeah. We have sort of intersubjective definitions of words, even though it's near impossible to have a 100% agreed upon definition. We have like 95% agreed upon. That's not what court packing is. That's not what deterrence is. That's not what all these other terms. Norms. What's a norm? He just picks and chooses. Well, what happened to Bork wasn't a norms violation. Says who? Well, me. I just don't think it was. I think, and you're just like, what the fuck are we talking about here? It's
Rob,
all designed to confuse.
you clearly need a logic coach. I don't.
That must be it.
You know,
yeah, do you know anyone?
You know what, Rob? I know a guy. Now, here's the thing. Hear me out. It's counterintuitive. Some people think that when you're trying to get hired as a logic coach, you try to pitch yourself, your expertise. You maybe don't call the potential client a coward cuck. But I've got a guy, Rob. He's not going to tell you his expertise, but he is going to call you a cuck and a coward. Would you be interested in him being your logic coach?
That sounds appealing. You know?
I think
that sounds great.
I think you should give him a lot of your time. Because he seems like
I just don't. I mean, to me, it's like it's sort of like when you see like some lady that's like a hairstylist and she has the ugliest hair in the world. Like, imagine a guy that's like sitting there all day, like dealing with sophists like Rob and Ryan. And this is the guy that's dealing with us bad sophists. He says, if you offer to help someone and they say no, they're a cuck that's ran from you. But if that person says, I'd like to debate you on this and you run from them, that's not running. That's different because you don't have to debate agreed upon topics. Now, that's the guy that's going to say, they're sophists. They're people that like flirt with definition of words and just semantics and stuff to get out of the thrust of the debate. And I mean, what? Why would I trust anything that guy says after that? It's a joke, you know.
Rob, I have good news. I now have two logic coaches. Nick Ricada has informed me that based on my definition of logic coach, which I admit is proprietary, a logic coach is someone who calls you a cuck and a coward. Nick is also willing to be a logic coach. He also believes that he's capable of performing the role of logic coach.
I'm Professor Nick Ricada. Let me start by saying you're all cucks and cowards, and we're all like, this guy's on it.
He's on to something now. You might have thought I was insulting you, but cuck and coward doesn't mean what you think it means.
Those are just utterances. They're just utterances. You know, it's the whole thing. And it's like, at some point, I gave 11 fucking hours to that. And at some point, when do I say is enough? And here's the problem. I got this stupid little fucking lizard brain, because I am just a dumb redneck, right? And like, I'll be like, yeah, people could say Rob's wrong. That doesn't bother me. But when someone's like, he's running, there's part of me, it's like, motherfucker, what'd you just say? You think I'm running? Let's go right fucking now. I'm downstairs. Just finished putting together this play set for my kids. Well, I didn't. My cousins did, right? And my wife's almost finished with dinner. And someone sent me that they were talking shit. I was like, motherfucker, I got to go upstairs. So I come storming upstairs, fire up the computer. I'm like, all right, I'm calling in. Let's do it. So I call in, no, we said you were card running, but no, we won't let you call in because, well, you have to agree to this and you have to agree to this. And I'm not willing to debate that I called you these things. I'm not willing. I'll only talk about the things I wanted to teach you. No, I'm not willing to debate about whether or not Pisco used this in a good way. No, I'm not willing. And it's like, you motherfucking cowards. And I have to learn that sometimes you have to take that lizard brain and just be like, yeah, man, I don't need to deal with you people. Actually.
Fuck off.
You can fucking stamp your feet and say, but you won't debate me anymore. I gave you motherfuckers every advantage in the world. I gave you the mod you wanted, the premises you wanted, the syllogisms you wanted, 11 fucking hours. As soon as the mod that you needed and kept asking to help you the whole fucking debate left, you rage quit. I offered to call into your fucking show with that mod and your coach and debate all three of you motherfuckers on this, and you bitched out. So I don't want to hear 2 weeks from now, I got another debate for you, Rob. Fuck you, bitches. Fuck you, hangers-ons that can't make anyone interested in your own fucking content. And so you try to glom on to people like Dave Portnoy or fucking Andrew Wilson or even little old me, right? Fuck you. There's a reason that people don't want to deal with you motherfuckers. And it's not because you're good, like you're all blowing smoke up each other's ass saying. It's because you're fucking unbelievably bad faith and frustrating, and you're not even likable while you're doing it. If you were likable, you could be like, well, at least they're funny or something. They're fucking dog shit. They're trash. That's who these motherfuckers are, and they don't deserve my time. As invaluable as my time is, it ain't that valuable. And yet still, they're beneath the value level of that time. That's where I put those motherfuckers. So I'm done dealing with it. I don't give a fuck. Pisco could go on X right now and be like, Rob's a bitch. He's running from me and blah, blah, blah. All the little shit I've dealt with that guy over and over, right? The fucking, just the way he uses X, where it's like, 90% of the time, he won't fucking respond to you. So he'll say like, blah, 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 and you'll respond, blah, blah, blah. Instead of responding to you, he likes his own post, reposts his own post, and then reposts your post so that he's the top chain instead of just like, I say A, you say B, I say C. Nope, it's I say A, he reposts A, then I say B, he reposts B and says A. And it's just like these little games. It's always these little fucking stupid games that I'm so over it.
But
like
Robbie,
the guy, I give him every fucking chance in the world. I'm done.
If you unpack the games, you start seeing through them, right? Where it's like, let's look at the games for a second. Little old me, what? I've got like 3,000 subs on YouTube, right? Like, I mean, I'm fucking nobody in terms of like internet clout. Pisco, Josiah, and Destiny have all spent the last couple weeks putting out hit pieces on me all over fucking social media, right? 800,000 sub accounts putting out hit pieces on little old me. Why? Because Pisco was embarrassed on Modern Day Debate. He was embarrassed about how that went. So people saw it. It was an audience that wasn't his audience. So now they're doing damage control, right? You do an 11 fucking hour debate with Pisco. You give 11 hours of your time. It's not even up on his channel. Why? Because he's hoping to God nobody sees that one.
Yeah,
right?
He knows.
But once you see the game, you understand how it's played, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like it's spin, it's damage control, it's optics. But like, at the end of the day, Rob, if you look through the games, he knows he lost both those debates. He knows he lost both those debates, right? And that's why he's behaving the way he's behaving. It is what it is.
You know, and it's like, here's the thing. When you debate normative politics, like a lawyer, you're debating normative shit. You have a client, right? Yeah. You're a prosecutor, you're a defense, whatever. You're going to lose some. That's what happens because each case is different and no one's infallible, right? But if you play these fucking tricks because you're like, I never want to lose a debate, so I'm going to fucking like, you know, I'll just say anytime I'm losing, oh, I changed the syllogism, that's the rule. I have proprietary definitions for all the words that you think makes me lose. Like, what is the utility in that? Well, because you're afraid to get embarrassed? Of course, the irony is you look fucking embarrassing. That's the irony. And what? Because you're afraid that you're going to lose a point or two? Court packing's a bad fucking idea. You want it to happen because you're fucking authoritarian tyrants that think that your side should have total control because our side's evil. But you can't admit that. So you got to bullshit and lie. Me, for all my fucking faults, and maybe I'll lose a debate here or there or whatever, at least I'm telling you what I honestly think. That's what I'm doing. You know, and it's like, I'm not sitting here and trying to devise some bullshit trick. And it's ubiquitous at this point with the fucking left. Like, I had this lady calling yesterday. She seemed nice enough. She's like, I want to talk about corruption. Biden and Democrats versus Trump. Okay, we start going. She's pissed off because Trump's political prosecutions. I said, well, what'd you think about Democrats' political prosecutions? There were none. So you don't think the fact that like any of the maybe you like them all but one. You don't think any of the investigations into Trump took into account politics as one of the reasons they were starting the investigation? No. I'm like, I don't know what to say. You're clearly full of shit. You're either so misinformed it's laughable, or you're just blatantly lying. And I know you're blatantly lying. I was like, Letitia James literally ran on like, I'm going to look through all of Trump's finances. You think she does that if Trump's never president, never runs for office? That she's just going to arbitrarily be like, by the way, this Donald Trump, I hated The Apprentice. I'm going to fucking look into that guy's business. Like, why can't you just admit it? Like, here, I can make their position better. Yeah, okay, but Trump's an odious person. Sure, politics played a role, but did he commit a crime? Sure, I think he committed a crime. But okay, yeah, politics is one of the reasons they started looking. I think what Trump's doing is worse. But they can't do it. They can't fucking bring themselves to say the obvious truth. And that's what's constantly infuriating to me. I'll fall on the sword. I'll say shit all the time. That caller, for example, the first thing they said was like, Trump's meme queen. I'm like, yeah, it's fucking terrible. I agree. It's bad. I don't know what to say. It's bad. Yeah, I didn't like it at all. I don't think it rises to the level of fraud of like getting FISA warrants to spy on your opponents illegally. That seems to be much worse. But yeah, I didn't particularly like it, you know.
The FISA warrants thing is an important point, right? Because like, you know, with the topic of court packing, I didn't have 11 hours. You know, if you're trying to do something shorter, you got to distill the argument down to its essence, right? The simplest point. And what's the simplest point? The Democrats, in the name of fighting fascism and fighting authoritarianism and fighting whatever Nazism, whatever name they give Donald Trump today, are planning to do something that is so tyrannical that the evil Republicans that they spend all day decrying aren't doing it, though they have the power to. It's so tyrannical that the evil Republicans want nothing to do with it. Because but of course, it's fine for them, right? That's the point. That's the actual point.
To me, the coup de grace of that whole debate I did with Pisco. Now, the very first thing, like, I remember talking to you on Law and Order, or maybe just on the phone. And before you were debating Pisco, just the general idea of court packing. Because you were like, I'd like to get some debates on court packing. I think this is the issue of our time. It's the issue. And I want to go out there and get on record why this is so bad. I want to do these debates. I was like, I agree. I think from a legal perspective, I think it's the most important issue. And I certainly think if you're just viewing it through a legal lens, it's the most important issue. So we're talking about it. And your very first point, and the very first point 90% of people would come to that are arguing against court packing, the very first thing was this. Well, how isn't all the justification they're giving for the Democrats packing the court mean that Republicans shouldn't pack the court right now? Right? Wow. If their argument is, like, that's simple. That's the very first thing you would think of, right? Pisco didn't have a response. When I'm like, okay, let's write the syllogism. Well, you said that packing the court's deterrence to packing the court, right? Yeah. Okay. So then we ought to deter packing the court, right? Yeah. Okay, then Republicans should pack the court, which would be deterrence to stop packing the court. How have you not thought that through? The most basic, simple, and he's just like, well, it's not valid. Why is it not valid? Avi, tell him it's not valid. It's just not valid. It's not valid. And you're looking at it, you're like, oh my goodness. How were you not more prepared? And like, just that portion of it, it's like, my goodness. Like, you spent so much time, like, let's write this syllogism in a very specific way that the most obvious arguments, you're like, oh, I hadn't considered that. That wasn't something I thought of. And of course, as you know, the problem with that is the idea, bad faith people, and I'll say it, fuck them, bad faith, yeah, they do this, right? They want to win the meta argument, each argument, but they don't understand, it's like each lie you tell in court compounds into another lie you need to tell. And then all of a sudden you're saying things that are on its face laughable by the end of this chain of lies, because it's like, okay, if you're going to lie about part one, that would mean this, right? Oh yeah, you'll lie about that and then mean this, right? Oh yeah. And then like by the end of the lie, it's like, so you're really trying to tell us that you drank 733 beers and still had your wits about you. And you're like, yeah, that happened.
Yeah,
like,
I'm Andre the Giant. You didn't know?
Yeah. And so like with that, the act that he's trying to claim that like, well, this is deterrence. we want to stop packing the court. And the way to deter packing the court is by packing the court, which is laughable. But it's like, okay, Pisco, let's accept that for a second. Why shouldn't Republicans do it? And now he can't be like, because that'd be fucking terrible and lead to a cascade of both sides packing the court. So he has to be like, well, because I don't like Republicans. Yeah, but let's just focus on my syllogism. How about that? And that's the sort of shit I'm talking about.
Rob, you're not allowed to have syllogisms.
Of course not.
Yeah.
Of course. And by the way, the idea is what they're suggesting, I'm not denying, can be a formal system in how to do debates, which is that in order for a debate to occur, there must be a topic and the affirmative must have a valid syllogism to fall within that topic. You can do debates that way, right? But that's not the only way that debates occur. In fact, that's not the way almost any debates occur, you know?
But if you're going to do debates that way, and that is a way to do debates, but if you're going to do debates that way, then the good faith way to approach that is to say, here's my syllogism, and I bear the burden of proof as to every premise, because it's my syllogism. But what Pisco does is the opposite. He says, here's my syllogism. Can you disprove any of my premises?
Well, it's even worse than that.
Yeah.
Because when you disprove, he says, fine, I'll just add more. And I still win the debate, he thinks.
That's what I mean. He's using the meta structure, but he's not using it in, like, if you have that debate between like two philosophy professors who are going to follow the agreed upon rules of like philosophic debate and logic, then he bears the burden as to every single premise. And you're right, he can't change them. So that it's a very different thing, but that's not what he's doing either. He wants the veneer of logic, not to actually be bound by it or any of the rules that are associated with doing debates that way.
Let me give you an example of why this isn't always, in fact, it's not preferable to do debates this way in many formats. Let's say me and you are debating, and I'll make myself the asshole here. You're going to say vote Republican in the midterms. I'm going to say vote Democrat in the midterms. So we'll say I'm the affirmative, and my affirmative burden is that you should vote Democrat in the midterms. So either you could say vote Republican or don't vote Democrat, whatever, right? The burden's on me. I'm the affirmative. Right? Let's say that I walk in and say, my syllogism is, here is the exact 246 Democrats you should vote for. These exact ones. That's it, right? And then you're like, okay, well, what about this guy? No, he's not in my syllogism. Okay, well, I don't like this one. Well, that's irrelevant. The general premise is we should vote Democrat. Now, you see the utility that gives me, but that's sort of dumb because the hyper-focus is not the conversation that people are really concerned with. The conversation as such is either, one, should I vote for my Republican or Democrat? And second, in general, which party do we think would do a better job? The idea of having this hyper-specific plan and being like, this is the exact to get one member of the majority, would it be 220 to get the majority? Right? These are the exact 220 Democrats that you should vote for, right? You lose some of the utility in like what the general public and the question.
It's a normative political debate. It's not a philosophic debate, right? Like, could you imagine if I was in court, Rob, and my client was found guilty and they give him the fucking death penalty, and I go, wait a minute, the jury didn't understand my syllogism, guys. Hold on. And they're like, well, he's still going to get killed, right? Because like I'm in court. I'm supposed to be making an argument that convinces the jury, right? This isn't a philosophy class. You're doing a normative political debate. Should the court be packed, right? Like, okay, like, I mean, I could see why a syllogism could be a tool in your toolbox in that context, but at the end of the day, it's a normative political debate.
Yeah, and so what ends up, so this is sort of policy debate in college, how it would go. You'd have a topic, and then you as the affirmative had to have a plan that fell somewhere within this broad topic. And that plan became the focus of the debate. But you were all the time, it was a courtesy to tell the other team your plan. Like, most of the time, the general rule of thumb was this. If it was a new plan that you never ran before, you were like, we're not telling you. But if you'd ran it before, they'd say, are you going to run the same argument you read in round one? You'd be like, yeah. That's the general rule of thumb. But that's not how we do sort of public policy debates. Like, do you think, imagine how this looks like a presidential debate. Okay, we're going to be talking about COVID and climate change and crime. Now, we need both of the participants to write their syllogism. Right? Write your syllogism out, and then each of you will get a chance to interrogate the other syllogism. It's laughable. It's fucking laughable. Right? And it's used as an excuse in this term for Pisco to be like, well, we don't want to talk about the actual. By the way, we get to this later in the debate because I'm like, well, let's say in the first part of the debate where the prompt is your debate, I'm like, let's say I'm like, I'm on X and I'm like, oh, fucking Trump should do a fund for the victims of political targeting, of investigations, political. Yeah, that's a good idea. Trump's plan, that's good. And Pisco's like, I think this is corrupt. And I'm like, fine, let's debate it. Here's the prompt. Should Trump have a fund for monies to go to victims of political prosecutions? And Pisco's like, no. Right? And I stand up and I say, all right, my syllogism is, blah, 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 blah. Therefore, Trump should have a fund to give $10 to. And Pisco would say, this is bullshit. Because anytime Pisco's like, this is really corrupt, blah, 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 I'm just going to say, hey, it's $10. Who gives a fuck? With trillions of dollars in debt, $10. Who gives a fuck, really? You tell me there ain't one person that could use $10 that's been targeted? And he's going to say, this is absurd, Rob. Shouldn't we be talking about the actual plan? And Pisco concedes that. He's like, yeah, I would say because Trump has an actual plan. Okay, so why is it different with the Democrats' plan in court packing?
Or your plan. Your actual plan, Pisco.
Right. Why is it now all of a sudden we shouldn't focus on the actual plans being suggested? All of a sudden we shouldn't? And they're like, their arguments, like, I saw them saying this, right? And here's the thing, like, these fuck faces, if they weren't such bad faith assholes that run from everything, I'd actually be able to talk to them, right? They're like, well, what you should do is this. You take the minimum approach that satisfies the proposition first. And then if you, as the negative, argue that minimum approach is also to be rejected, then you don't bother to get to the further approach, right? But my argument is, seeing as how we have utterances of proprietary definitions, I think that it is incumbent to talk about the motivations and potential motivations as to the claims that are being made here. Because we need to have some sort of tool so that the debaters and the moderator and the audience have an understanding. Because once one of the persons says, all of these definitions are totally subjective to me. They're all just utterances, and I can change the definitions at a whim because they're just symbols trying to convey an idea I have. Then why not do it the opposite way? Tell us what your real idea is, and then we could get an idea of what your motivations are and shit that would inform why you think these things are good. Right? And if you want to talk about justice and fairness, and your argument is pack the court with 4 seats, it is implicit that you don't believe in justice and fairness, that there's something beyond it. So when we go back to, well, add 1 seat, it's like, yeah, but when you're saying justice and fairness, you don't really give a shit about that, do you? And you can say, well, that's irrelevant to the concept of the premise, except your entire argument is it's all my preferences. That's your argument. And so given that's what it's going to boil down to at the end, if it's just your preferences, why should we not be allowed to point out that your motivations are selfish? That seems reasonable.
Well, and we're not writing like a treatise on, like under utilitarianism, is court packing justified in what circumstances, right? Like it's a normative political debate about what people should and should not vote for, right?
It's
on what universe is your party's actual plan and your actual plan not relevant to whether people should vote for your political party to allow you to do this thing. In fact, in politics, it's basically the most relevant thing. Like, do I trust this person? Are they going to fuck me?
Yep. And here's the thing, like when you want to get in the weeds, like an honest interlocutor is just like, yeah, you can talk at it at a surface level, right? A person trying to be dishonest is going to try to baffle you with bullshit. And so it's just like you keep getting reductive. And I don't know about you. I don't know if there's anyone intelligent enough to do this, but eventually you have kids. Like maybe you got that why. I'm sure you had that. Why is the sky blue? Well, it's because of these atoms. Why? Well, because, those are the building. Why? Well, there's light that's reflected. Why? At some point you get to a base where you're like, I don't know. I don't know anymore. Can you define chair? Yeah, here's how I define. But what about this exemption? Okay, I guess there'd be. What about this exemption? Oh, okay, I guess. What about this? Oh, okay. So therefore, you shouldn't have a seat. It's like, dude, I just asked if you think it would be smart of me to have a seat while I'm waiting for the boss to come in. Well, but we have to start with what is a seat? What is a chair in the room? That's a chair right there. Well, define it. Define what you're pointing at. And you see the point? It's like, this is all just to fucking obfuscate from the fact that you know that you can't defend what you're suggesting in a normative way. So you set up all these key preconditions, and you're like, the moderator has to be this specific person, the fucking syllogism has to be this specific, you have to argue within the confines of this syllogism, blah, blah, blah. You're not allowed to talk about the things that I really believe. Like, all the words, you have to accept my definition that are totally proprietary. They're all just utterances, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, for what? What is the purpose? And it's what you nailed in your debate and what I said at the top of my debate. All of this, all of it, is just smoke and mirrors to hide the fact that Pisco doesn't just want to add 1 seat. He wants to add 4 seats to the court. He wants to end the filibuster. He wants to give the legislative branch punishment powers over justices that they think, quote, lied, which will just mean whatever the fuck they believe. He wants to add 2 new states. He wants to keep his political opponents off the ballot. Right? He's vote blue no matter who, even if they have Nazi tattoos. That's just a short list of the things that he in his worldview is suggesting. And so what he wants to do is, let's look at each individual step in a microscope. Each one. And in each one, I'll just change the definitions of terms and say you're not allowed to factor in all that other stuff. And, the best example I could come up with would be like if Pisco's announcing, Ryan, I'm going to steal your car. That's what I'm going to do. And he says, okay, let's just debate the syllogism today. Should I be allowed to stand within 20 feet of your car? Why not? Let's look at the premise. Why not? And it's like, yeah, but Pisco, tomorrow it's going to be 19, then 18, then 17. Or then it'll be, if your car was on fire, could I open the door and try to save if you had like a dog in the car? And in that case, I'd be allowed to open the door. Pisco, you're trying to steal my fucking car. You told us you're trying to steal the car. No. You can't talk about that.
But Rob, we've seen this play out before. This is why I brought up systemic racism earlier, right? Remember when we saw the left play this game where they said like, oh, we all agree racism's bad, right? And you're like, yeah, of course. We all agree racism's bad. They're like, well, isn't it bad when people are impacted by racism, even indirectly? And you're like, yeah, that does sound bad. And they're like, well, what does racism really mean? And then, they deconstruct it. They play some language games with it. Systemic racism, which has nothing to do with actual racism, it turns out. It's just disparate impact that's felt by races, then becomes the new thing. And then all of a sudden, it's the fucking summer of love. Ibram X. Kendi gets the MacArthur Genius Grant, and he's talking about a constitutional amendment that gives the federal government the power to intervene in the economy if any racial group is ever more than 3% off from perfect numeric equity with every other racial group. And you're like, wait a minute, how the fuck did we get here? How the fuck did we get to the point where anyone's taking this idea seriously? Like, this is a real thing that we're supposed to talk about? And it's because they played these fucking language games early on, and nobody said, nah, fuck you. Nah, fuck you. We're not doing it. And I think that people have learned, right? Like now it's gotten to the point when a progressive comes up to you and they say like, well, words are just utterances. Couldn't we say that racism means something different? You're like, yeah, you could. Get fucked.
Yeah,
I'm not doing it. I'm not playing that game anymore. Like
the average person, you don't have to worry about someone trying to baffle you. A smart person could fucking talk you into why we should cut off the genitals of an 8-year-old boy. They'd go through syllogisms and shit, and they could baffle you with bullshit. But it's wrong to do that, and that's okay. And it's okay to be like, go fuck you. You're not someone. Maybe you could accept it if you trusted that the person that was trying to have this conversation with you was an unbiased interlocutor. It was just like, I'm just trying to look through logic, right? But they're not. They're people with a stated agenda that this is all just my preferences for power and for my agenda. So it's okay for you to just be like, go fuck yourself. Or you could do like I did and painstakingly go through 11 fucking hours of it and whoop their ass. But the results are the same. It's the same. You probably don't have 11 hours to sit.
Well, you're a fucking grinder, man. You're a champion. 11 hours, but unbelievable that you did.
I did it. He kept saying, "Well, let's."
The fucking iron horse.
He kept saying, "Let's reschedule. You work." No, motherfucker, right now, right now. And I even said that part I just played where he was like, "Bring on, ask yourself." I said, "Do you got 5 more hours?" Because that's what it's gonna take. I could see what's fucking happening, and it did. It took 5 more hours.
Well, Rob, don't you think that debate would
5 hours into that debate, and we were on the first fucking premise. 5 hours! Well, the second premise. Yeah. But that's the first one we really started with. Granted, the first 3 hours was debating whether or not you did bad. And here's the funny part. If I had to take Pisco's position on you doing bad, I could have argued it 100 times better. Instead, he goes with the syllogism, which is a huge fucking mistake, right? Because, like...
Wait, he had a syllogism about whether I did bad?
Yes! He had a fucking syllogism for that. And I laughed at it. And it was like, it was stupid because it's like the way it was worded specifically. The first premise was like, if he did not, this was his syllogism. If Ryan did not justify his position or undermine my justification for my position, then Ryan did bad in the debate. I said, I reject that premise. He said, why? I was like, let's say we have I was like, today there was a meeting. What the fuck? It was the Foreign Policy or the Foreign Affairs Committee. I was like, today there's a Foreign Affairs Committee meeting? Yeah. I was like, okay, let's say in that meeting, if Democrats stood up and were like, Marco Rubio, we have evidence that you've committed tax fraud. And that led to Rubio being arrested. Would you say they did bad in that hearing? No. You would say they did good. Yeah. And yet they didn't talk about the agreed upon topic of foreign affairs. Right? But you'd say they did good. And he's like, well, that's different. It's not debate. I said, okay, presidential debate. Kamala Harris proves she gets asked a question about COVID or climate change. And she's like, Trump didn't pay his taxes. He committed fraud. And Trump dropping out of the race. Did she do good in the debate? Would the majority of people say she did good in the debate? Yeah, the majority say she did good in the debate. Okay. So therefore, Ryan would be able to argue things that if a group of people said, wow, that was really good in proving a more important point, why would we say he did bad in the debate? And Pisco's argument was quite literally boils down to this, because that style of debate on modern day debate's different. It's different than a presidential debate. It's different than most other debates. So something about modern day debate is unique, where the other things, the other rules that we would look at in other debates, or to qualify if we think someone could do bad, good or bad, that doesn't apply to modern day debate for some reason.
Well,
why?
Rob,
I don't know. He just makes up bullshit.
I have a counterpoint, and I'd like to present it to you in the form of a syllogism. If you go on a debate platform with a scoring system, then the winner of the debate is decided by the debate scoring system.
Well, he would say
Pisco went on a debate with me on Modern Day Debate. Modern Day Debate has an audience scoring system. The audience said I won 86% to 14%. Therefore, I won the debate with Pisco.
And he kept asking, well, what about,
Rob, why are you talking about something else? That's my syllogism. You can't bring up any other topics. I had a syllogism, Rob. What the fuck are you doing?
Right. But what he would say, like what he kept saying, well, like I brought that point up, not in a syllogism, but I brought it up. And basically his point's like, but all that matters is what me and you think. If we looking at the premises, I'm like, but why? Why does that matter? That I could just, for the same reasons you could say bad, I'll say he did good. Yeah. It's just my preference. What's the point? And then I'm like, furthermore, then the second premise was that you didn't justify your position or undermine his. He didn't make one argument. I was like, he didn't make one argument? He didn't talk about how this would lead to a cascade of horrible shit and corruption and tyranny and authoritarian. Well, he didn't sufficiently prove it. And I was like, Pisco, here's the funny part. I was like, you were the affirmative. And the whole time you're having the meta-analysis, you're not affirming your, right? So you could say Ryan did bad, but so did you.
He had the burden of proof on every premise.
Right. So if Ryan would have stood up and just been like, my hair's on fire for an hour, right? At the end of the day, you'd say that was bad that Ryan did that. But probably Pisco didn't sound good just saying, no, it's not. Okay, what was the topic again? So like the idea, and I was like, once you guys moved on the final half hour to like the actual proper parts of your syllogism, I was like, Pisco, you got your ass kicked. You did. So even if you don't like what happened in the first half, you weren't advancing the ball necessarily. People may come to the conclusion performatively, I didn't like what Ryan did. But when you guys were talking about the issues, you were losing. And you know it. You know you were fucking losing.
I love when you read him that law review article about Bork, because it's just like, the idea that he was just totally taken aback by the idea that anyone thought Bork was a norm violation. Anyway, whatever. It's cute. The performative not knowing of things is always fun.
Yeah, I mean, that's just it. And like, it would be ridiculous because even that point, it's like they can't even, like, I don't even think Avi and them were following what both of us are trying to say there. For those of you that are watching, when Pisco's basically making this argument, right? The Democrats could go above and beyond because they're the victims first. Right? And so because they were the initial victim with the Merrick Garland thing, well then, that's it. Now they're justified in going above and beyond, right? And it's like, okay, so then Republicans, would they be allowed to retaliate? No, because they're the initial aggressor. Okay, so then if we prove that there was an initial aggression against Republicans, then what happened with Merrick Garland would be justified, right? And then, so he knows, given the logic he's given, the utterances that he's tried to explain to you, that yes, that follows. So it's like, okay, then we'll just prove that what happened to Bork. And so when it distilled, what we had to prove was that it was against norms and that it was partisan injury, right?
Which it clearly was.
And he's just like, well, no, maybe it wasn't partisan injury. What are you talking about? Well, because, you know, and no, it wasn't against norms. But if you accept that it was against norms, everyone should accept that it was a partisan injury. So then it's just a question if it was against norms.
Oh, you guys got Kennedy and Souter, those wonderful originalist justices you were so pleased with. Fucking Kennedy and Souter.
And his argument was like, well, that's Republicans' fault. They could have appointed who they wanted. To which my response is, Obama could have appointed, you know, Brett Kavanaugh or Gorsuch. Obama could have appointed Gorsuch, and I'm sure Mitch McConnell would have said, oh, shit. Yeah, we'll let this guy through. There you go. He had a choice, too. Oh, they didn't want to pick that choice? They wanted the person that they originally believed? Right? See how that works? And like the whole thing, it's just, everything is, when there's a slight nuance different, there's no exact A to A anything in life, right? So anytime there's a little difference, wouldn't you know it? Because I get to choose the definitions of words, those little differences mean that thing doesn't fit into my definition. But when you point out, when I say like there's a little difference, right? When I say, in this case, I'm saying, look what happened to Bork. He's like, there's a little difference though, right? So that doesn't matter. But when I say the same thing, where I'm like, well, there's a difference between court packing and what happened to Garland. Prove it. What's the difference? We need to go into the details, blah, 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 blah. We need to hammer it down. And it's like, it's all a shell game. It's all just a shell game. Why define? All that matters is my definition, not your definition, not everyone else's. Within my definition, does this make sense? And you could do this with anything. You know, we talked about this the other day, but you could literally say, like, you know, think of some, I won't say the most heinous thing, but I could say Pisco is a murderer, right? Oh, how? Well, I define murderer as like anyone who's won an argument at any point in their life. Oh, okay. I might as well call it schmurderer. Might as well. Same difference. So
but they're not. They're calling it murderer because they want to keep the normative force of the word murderer, but they want to redefine the term. Right? Like, if Pisco went up there with a syllogism and the conclusion was, therefore we should X, nobody would give a fuck, right? But the conclusion was, therefore we should court pack, right? So, like, you know, like, it does actually matter what words you use because the words have meanings that people understand. And if you choose to redefine them, you don't get to keep the original force and gravity of the word.
Ultimately, I just don't give a shit. For me, it was just this whole fucking thing with ask yourself, and the whole thing's just too much at this point. The little fucking click, it's one thing to be like, we did a shitty debate strategy, we got blown out, we did 11 hours. I would have still fucking interacted with them. But here, Rob, I just want to generously offer up my debate coach to give you advice and tell you that I'm right and you're wrong. And then when you're like, no thanks, well, you're a fucking coward, you're running and blah, blah, blah. And then I appear, I'm like, okay, I'm here now, what? Oh, you have to agree to X, Y, and Z before we'll even be willing to talk to you. That's it. I'm done with it. I'm done with the fucking crew.
Yeah,
that's it. Fuck him. I don't care. Maybe he'll go on to become president, you know, and open the borders and pack the court. Good for you, Pisco. I don't give a fuck. I don't need you. I don't. And I think I've been more than charitable. Fucking who else is going to sit there with your bullshit for 11 fucking hours on a moderator that you keep asking to save you, and then within 2 minutes of that moderator leaving, you fucking rage quit? Who else is going to do that? And I barely said a fucking peep about that portion of it. I was like, whatever. It was fucking horse shit. They threw this bullshit at me, but hey, fuck it. Most people would have just, when Avi started fucking interrupting like that, would have been like, yeah, man, I'm good. I'm not going to fucking debate the moderator and the fucking person. And that's fine. If Avi says, well, that's just the way I moderate, don't ask me to moderate. Okay, now I know. You will not moderate a debate with me because what I'm interested in a moderator isn't to say who won or say what's an effective strategy, whatever. It's to keep the debate on track. That's it. That's it. Not based on my preferences of what I think a good debate looks like, you know? So, I don't know. Yeah, that was my feelings on it. So.
Well, I mean, look, I like I said at the beginning, like I was like, I asked my stream earlier if they wanted to talk about this, and they were like, "Fuck it, we're done. This is boring. Let's move on." The only reason I wanted to drop on was because I saw that fucking Cope stream and I saw your reaction to it. So, as far as I'm concerned, like whatever, man. The debate was like fucking 2 weeks ago. You know, your debate's in the books. Like. It's over.
Funny to relook at it, just in the sense of like you sort of can't believe that someone's trying this. You really can't believe it. It's kind of funny. Like you said, it's sort of like, redefining the word racism. Like, and at some point, you do have to step back and you're like, the chutzpah is pretty, like, you're like, wow. It's actually, like, there's part of it that you sort of admire, just being so fucking slimy that you're just like, wow, I define exactly what you're doing is bad and exactly what I'm doing is good. And so there, if we agree to those terms, then I'm good and you're bad, motherfucker. And it's like, isn't that about? Yeah, now we're talking. And you're just like, oh, because when you're in the middle of it 11 hours, you sort of like, you have to take a step back afterwards and be like, holy fuck. Like the nerve to do that. But again, at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, fuck all that. It's this part of the, like, by the way, just in case, if you're still streaming, just so your audience knows, because I'm sure they didn't stay up for the whole fucking 11 hours. Here's how this ended, by the way. Avi left.
Shit.
Avi left like 30 seconds before this. So this
11 hours into a debate.
Yeah.
Jesus
So here we go.
Rob,
I'm going to finish my thought. You're going to let me. Great. You did not prove.
No.
I'm going to finish my thought. I'm going to finish
We're done.
I'm going to finish my thought. I'm going to finish my.
We're done.
I am going to. I'm going to finish. I'm going. There goes rage quit. That's how it ended. There you go. Right? It's like that every point that you try to say something. It's no. And so as soon as Avi leaves, and he can't go, Avi, tell him why that's about. Within 3 minutes, he's like, I'm out. I'm not gonna leave you finish your point. I'm fucking out.
Fucking
that's it.
11 hours of that. Jesus, Rob. You've got a masochistic streak.
I was ready to go another as long as I was done before the extravaganza at 5:30. I'd have kept going until 5:30. I was ready to go. Because I knew that's it, man. Like, we're going to leave everyone see the bullshit. It's going to be on the table so everyone can make their own judgment. Go watch the full debate. You won't be able to find it on Pisco's channel. It's on mine, though. It's up there. Go ahead. Go check it out. I'll link it for everyone. Go fucking watch. So you make up your own judgment. If you think, you'll forget 7 hours in the debate, like, what the fuck are we even talking about? Right. Because every little word, you got to get to the... At one point in the debate, I went through this. Like, you have to go through every word. I have my notes somewhere, right? So the one premise where I think it was 2, where I was going to argue that what happened to Bork was court packing based on his definition. I was like, okay, what is the term you're using? And he has this whole thing. I was like, what do you mean by partisan injurious? What do you mean by norms? What do you mean by, right? And so you had to get him to define every term and then all the terms he used to define. Right? You had to get each one, right? So one, he said that affects the composition of the court. And I was like, what does composition mean? And he says, the members that are on it, right? So then I'm like, okay, let's start here. Let's start with the easiest argument first. Is what happened to Bork, did it affect the composition of the court? Based on the definition that you gave us, did it affect the makeup of the people that were on the court? He says yes. Great.
Was it partisan?
40 minutes later... He's responding to something I say. He's like, blah, 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 blah. The first is that there's like, the partisan injury has to be like some sort of time frame. And ultimately, it didn't affect the composition of the court because Republicans still got the point. And I was like, wait. What was that part about time frame that you already said wasn't an issue? And now composition? And he's like, I didn't say that. I didn't say that about time frame. See how he slips in? He concedes. Yeah, composition. And then all of a sudden, 40 minutes later, in one of his 3-minute tirades, he's like, oh, and it didn't change the composition. You see how that works? Then you got to go back to 40 minutes earlier. Then you got to argue for 20 minutes. Like, you said it didn't affect the composition. Well, composition's like a threshold. And so there's different forms of composition, blah, blah, blah. That's the whole debate in a nutshell. You have to spend 45 fucking minutes on a point just to have him say, yeah, I did say that. Interrupting the whole time, fucking. And it's like, that's just a meta point about the debate, but that's why it's going to take 11 hours. If me and you were debating something, we could have the exact fucking debate. I could defend that syllogism against you, and the debate would be 2 hours. Because it wouldn't be that. It would just be like, yeah, this is what I'm saying. We'd
fucking have a conversation.
We'd have a conversation about it. Not, you have to painstakingly define every fucking word in every sentence, only to later redefine it. right? It doesn't matter because after all, it's all intersubjective and blah 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 blah.
No, and then you fucking never. I mean, look, that's why I don't blame you. Like, if you're saying like, "Fuck, man, I'm done with this shit," it's like you did a fucking 11 hours in the salt mines of like fucking postmodernism, post-structuralism, word redefinition hell. Like, if you don't want to do that, wow, by the way, the motherfuckers are like shit talking you and calling you a cuck and a coward, while refusing to let you on to talk. Yeah, I mean, I get that. That's a lot.
It's that last part though for me. The last part of it, which is, look, motherfucker, like once you guys start like calling me, you and your boy, your coach, right, start talking shit to me on your stream and saying I'm running from you.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Nick Ricada has just dropping fire in the chat, has pointed out that Pisco has redefined push-ups into eating ass.
I wonder how he defines the. You want to hear a funny story? This is true. Pisco at one point was furious at me because I put a video out and the title of it was like debating lawyer on some Trump thing, and I had lawyer in quotes. He went fucking berserk. He said he was officially putting me on notice. How dare I besmirch him by putting the word lawyer in quotes? Why did you do it? You're implying I didn't pass the bar? I was like, no, I'm implying your arguments were dog shit. And you credential yourself as a lawyer, and so I'm like, oh, this lawyer, no different than if someone said they're a foreign policy expert and they had a shit take, and I was like, a foreign policy expert, right? It's to mock the credential because your argument fucking sucks. And he was furious. And like, like he was like, I'm putting you on notice. This is beyond the pale. Putting the word lawyer in quotation marks is beyond the pale. And so I would be curious, how's this motherfucker define lawyer? I'd be curious.
It's just an utterance, Rob. It's just an utterance.
An utterance of, it's so fucking laughable. Like, what a fuck. I remember there's that show with a bunch of attorneys. I forget what it was called, but they used to do shows on like Thursdays or Fridays. And it would be
laid back law.
Laid Back Law.
Yeah, I don't know. They stopped doing that. That was a good show.
I remember
I liked going on that show.
They brought Pisco on, and it was like everyone's just like, what the fuck is happening? Like, it was so bad. The show's called Laid Back Law. And everyone's just like, what are you doing? What? And like, you just look and you're like, what the fuck are you doing, man? Like, you're burning every bridge you have. Like, and not even like, I don't even know what to say. I don't give a fuck at this point. I don't give a fuck, right? Like, no one's going to want to deal with the guy because it's fucking objectively stupid. And it may be some Phil bro that's got like an audience of fucking 5,000 people. Maybe you'd put up with it because you're like, it's a big audience. That ain't Pisco. Ain't him. So I don't, what is the fucking benefit of dealing with the guy, right? He's just going to fucking, call you a cock, and this or his boys are going to call you, and he's going to, at some point, you just got to be like, it ain't worth my time. Yeah. And I know the son of a bitch is going to be out there and be like, Jim Bob, thanks for the raid. I really appreciate it. JB, thank you. But at some point, you just got to be like, this ain't worth my time. It's not worth my fucking time. I'm going to stick it out. I'll stay here 20 fucking hours in this debate. But when that debate ends and all of a sudden your coach is going to fucking take my advice, or you're running from me and you're a cuck, and then I'm going to go on Pisco's show and like repeat what a coward you are. And then when you try to call in, like at some point I'm going to be like, enough's enough. Now I'll say, just for your audience, one last thing. I'll say this. I ain't wishing the dude ill. May he have a long life practicing whatever law he's practicing. I don't give a shit. But his arguments are dog shit, and I'm not entertaining it at this point anymore. Maybe I'll change my mind a year from now. Maybe not. But fuck him. Have fun in irrelevancy. Find someone else to fucking glom onto that'll entertain your bullshit. Go fucking, in your little cry group with fucking Ask Yourself and Josiah. By the way, Josiah didn't want the heat either. He don't want to debate one-on-one. All these motherfuckers want other people to do their debating for them. You at least are an attorney. Who am I? Some fucking redneck. Wrecking these motherfuckers. I'm doing this because I was waiting to get a fucking 12-pack of Milwaukee's Beast for tonight. So I figured I'd wreck some fucking attorney on their dog shit legal opinion. It's so funny. That's what I find so hilarious. All this fucking group these people have. Josiah and his bullshit. Why don't you come in and talk on a panel? What's the matter, bitch? I don't want to do it one-on-one, do you? It's okay. That's your right. Probably a smart decision. Totally get it. But that's fine.
Well, you got the clip, right?
Josiah?
I don't know if you have that locked and loaded. Yeah, that's one of the funniest clips of all time. Josiah admitting that that he was embarrassed about his performance debating.
I have it somewhere. Yeah, he knows.
He knows.
They all know. And that's what's funny
know.
about their audience too. Like, you can think I'm wrong or I'm an asshole or stuff, but people are like, these guys are the worst debaters ever. Yeah, dude, if you're a lefty and you're watching this, all your little left-wing heroes that do this, no, even if they think they won the debate, they know it's going to be a significant challenge. They fucking know. Destiny knows. He'll tell you. Yeah. When Brian Shapiro asked him, was like, oh, what do you think of Rob as a debater? Lauren Southern back in the day was like, well, you're tired of debating these people. Who's someone as good? He's like, some guy you've never heard of named robnoerr. They fucking know. They know. And I'm tired of being good faith and putting myself out there on every fucking issue that they want, giving them every advantage. I'm tired of them. Fuck them.
Destiny did it to me the other night. He was like, what did he say? He's like, my autism cannot be contained by any moderator, and therefore he's reasserting his blacklist of me. And then he's like, now I did call him to his show the other day. Now, so like that, yeah, that's a little weird that I blacklisted and then called him to a show, but I'm not doing that anymore. And it's like, yeah, I bet you're not doing that anymore because everyone saw how that went. Like,
yeah,
we were there.
Yeah, but you know how it was. You were redefining terms and proprietary. Oh wait, you didn't do any of that. No, nothing like that.
Yeah, just straight facts the whole time. But anyway, man, I do have to work tomorrow, so I'm going to let you enjoy your show.
You and your real job.
I know with my real job. I'm just the golden cuffs, man. But Rob, always a pleasure. Yeah. I appreciate you. And
Monday we got Law and Order Monday, right? So think of some legal shit. I think
we got some good shit. It really got swept under the rug with all the crazy stuff going on. But I don't know if you saw this. One of Trump's, I think, smartest policies just got tied up in court fucking again. This one was about preventing abuse of H-1Bs. And of course, it's being tied up in court. So that we'll have stuff to talk about.
The DOJ memo, right, that came out or whatever, that was like basically like the disparate impact memo.
That's crazy.
That has the effect to be even bigger than Dobbs, maybe. That would upset the entire fucking apple cart. I don't think most people know, like, since the 70s, the courts have basically ruled that you can't have competency tests basically for your fucking jobs.
Yeah.
Right? Which led directly to the entire university industry, where it's like, well, you got to get credentials somewhere. So instead of just being like, hey, man, here's a fucking test. If you can pass it, you're in. Well, that was racist because not enough people of certain ethnicities can pass it. So now you go to school and spend all this money and get in perpetual debt to get a piece of paper that doesn't train you to do a goddamn thing. Then you got to get training on the job. The jobs end up hiring people that are fucking incompetent. So I think that's a huge issue. That'll be
that's an absolutely huge one. And if that one survives scrutiny in the courts, and he'll have to fight for that one. But
yeah, it's gonna be tough.
If that'll be unbelievable if he pulls that off. And again, look, there's a lot of stuff about Trump that I don't like. There's a lot of stuff about Trump that I know you don't like. But I think it's worth reminding the audience that there's a lot of W's on the board. There's a lot of W's on the board on some really important stuff.
W's and then attempted W's that may not win, but that he's trying shit that like the birthright citizenship. Who the hell else was going to push for that?
And he's getting fought tooth and nail, like bloody resistance to this stuff. So, it is what it is. But Rob, have a wonderful night, man. I'll talk to you soon. Take it easy.
All right, man. Nice to hear from you. I'm going to go to the restroom real quick, then we're going to read Super Chats, and I'm going to yell some more. Disquieted. What a word. Damn, you guys with your vocab.
This is the Rob Noah Show. It's not the Noah Rob Show.
This is the time to get the donos in, people.
This is my
I know you can do it.
Show.
Super chats.
Because it is my show.
PayPal.
If this was your show,
Cash App.
you'd probably like it more.
And robnoerr.shop.
Maybe that's just because it was your show, but it's not your
Oh, I don't fucking suck.
Get it off. Get it off.
What?
It's the Rob
What?
Noah Show.
Yeah, one of these days this chair is going to be gone. That's totally true. Anyway, so we were just talking about the bullshit debate that I had, and just in general. It wasn't supposed to be just about Pisco and Ask Yourself and those dudes. The idea of so many of these people on the left, why can't they just argue what they really believe? Why can't they? It's so frustrating. It's so infuriating. I might be a fucking idiot, but I'm telling you what I really think. That's it. Sometimes that means I piss my audience off. I'm like, I think fucking Trump sucked on this. I think this plan was stupid. I think Republicans are dog shit in this area. All the time. It'd be the easiest thing in the world to just come on here and pick a side and always go with it. No problem. I'm not a philosophical debater. I'm not a Phil bro. I'm not really debating religion and stuff. There's no problem with that stuff, by the way, but that's not who I am. I'm hopping in a debate like, should we vote Republican or Democrat? And I'm watching some motherfucker explain some 6-point syllogism with terms that he redefines every single fucking term to bring on a Phil bro buddy that could sit there and he could appeal. Well, what's this about a syllogism the whole time for 11 fucking hours? Then you offer to have your Phil bro coach fucking give me some advice on how I was wrong. When I politely say no thanks, he basically implies that I'm a cuck and that I'm running from him and he's going to publicly say it. Then they go and have a fucking cope stream with that moderator, that debate coach, and Bisco, the debater I debated, saying that I'm a coward running from them. So I offer to call in and then you say no, there's all sorts of conditions on me calling in. Fuck you bitches. Fuck you. Just like fuck all these people that says, we're too cowardly to have a conversation on race. No, we're not. You want all these preconditions that we have to agree with you and all this shit. Fuck you. No. Fuck off. We don't have to put up with this shit. For them, it's all my preferences. Anyway, 11 hours, I debated a dude to basically say, well, for me, it's just, I think Democrats are good and they should have power. That's what it comes down to. Well, we could have saved the 11 hours, couldn't we have? It's just my preference. Great. And where do your preferences come from? I don't know. This is one of the things he said. I don't know. My genetics, how I was raised, subjectively, the people around me. Great. Go debate other Phil bros about where your morality comes from. I'm not interested in fucking slogging through fucking 11 hours just for you to finally say, because of my preferences. Awesome. And it's not just me. I'm subjective because, by the way, I was supposed to have a debate tonight, but it canceled. So sorry for the, a little bit of me selective content here. The little meta. See, he gave topics he wanted to discuss and you didn't want to. No big deal, big dog. Okay. He says I'm running from him because he said, would you like me to give you some advice on these? And I said, no, thank you. So he calls me a cuck, or he tells me to uncuck and have him on, and says that I'm publicly on his dodging him list. So if I'm taking his definition, that him offering me advice and me politely saying, no, thank you, is me running from him, then how is me saying, I want to debate you on the exact conversation we had and on the tactic that you're talking about, how I think it was applied incorrectly by Bisco? And he's like, nope, but that's not running. That's no big deal, big dog. No big deal. He thinks you ran from him because you didn't want his advice, but that's not him running from you. When you challenged him to a debate on the specific things he said, he's not interested in that. He doesn't want to defend his statement. Fuck that. And I'm tired of people looking at, I get it. You're a Bisco fan, probably. Great. Awesome. Get your head checked. What the fuck's wrong with you? Nonetheless, the point is, objectively, that's fucking I don't want to use the word objectively. Overwhelmingly, people can see how stupid that is. But it's not just me, as I was saying. It's all of you, all of us. We have to deal with this shit all the time. The double standard, the fucking everything. Everything has to be set up just right for them all the time. And they're little, fuck all that. Done with it. And you should be too. Well, let's talk about systemic racism. Nah, I'm good, dog. Racism's racism. Fuck you. Either we decide to treat people as individuals, or if we're going to be tribal and treat different groups based on ethnicity, race, etc. differently, fine. Then my team should be allowed to play that game too. Either we treat everyone equal under the law, or you guys decide to do political prosecutions, and my side says, fuck it, we're going to play that game too. That's it. No more debate. I'm over it. Corinthia, I hear you, Corinth. I would happily talk to you. I would have talked to Avi before today. It's not that I think the Phil Bro shit goes way too far. And you lose the forest for the trees. You forget that almost all communication is attempting to persuade people that aren't experts in a field. Yeah, if you're an attorney, you're arguing specifically for a hopefully qualified jury and a judge. Got it? But most conversations, particularly around political normative stuff, is trying to convince average people. And a lot of the Phil Bro shit, it loses that. It loses the human connection. By the way, I'm going to blow your mind. When I was a very successful collegiate debater, when I qualified for the national debate tournament, that was the top 72 teams, I am not exaggerating when I tell you, if you took our SAT scores, I would assume I was probably bottom 5 of everyone that qualified for the national debate tournament. Out of 144 debaters, I would have been bottom 5. Yet I was probably top 50 of the debaters there. Why? Well, one of the big reasons was because something that was lost by a lot of these people, some of them are so smart, they're like machines. At the end of the day, your judge is a human in the back of the room. It's sort of like playing poker. You could watch your judge. You could see when an argument's landing and when it's not. You pay attention to how the judge, if you had him in the back of the room before, what were the arguments they liked and didn't like? You know, little things. Like, here's a little thing that judges like when you concede arguments. They like that. They like when you narrowly tailor it. They like when you give them a framework. Like, this is how I'm viewing the debate and how you should view it. When you concede an argument, what it does is it gives an impression of like, oh, this isn't just some debate bro that's like, he's like, oh, okay, yeah, you're right about that. But I still think generally my arguments. You can think what you want, YNG. Let's see. Here you go. You think I'm smarter than Ryan. Let's give you a little test as a Pisco fan. If you think that it was, quote, no big deal because I offered a topic, they didn't want to talk about it, no big deal. Do you find it laughable? Laughable that Ask Yourself said I'm running from him because he offered me advice and I said no thank you. And therefore, I'm running from him. Do you find that laughable? We'll see what your answer is before we decide whether or not we're going to take your evaluation on Ryan. Shouldn't be hard to say, yeah, that's pretty fucking laughable. And if you're going to accuse people of running from you because they don't want your advice, when they challenge you to a debate and you say no, that seems like even more evidence. That's what you would say. Let's see if you're capable. I get it, man. I'm as tribal as... Yeah, Corinth, I'll talk to you about it someday. Are you going to be at DebateCon? Because I'll probably have some time there. If he said that, sure, I missed that, to be honest. Well, that's what he said. And I have the fucking messages to prove it. And he won't even deny that he said it. Good, good. Yeah, it'll be nice to catch up anyways, Corinth. But yeah, we'll definitely talk about it. I've said this for years, though. Like, I'm not... Like, the Phil Bro people are probably smarter than me. But it's like this. Like, we're sitting around. Imagine, like, 8 guys sitting around. And someone's like, hey, there's a stump in the middle of the yard that needs to be removed before we could do this, like, landscaping thing that we are going to do. And 7 of the dudes sit around and be like, but what does that mean? We ought to. What do you mean ought? Where is your moral premise? How do we put this in the form of, like, a formal syllogism, blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, yeah, man, I'm going to grab a shovel. Like, good luck, guys. And I'm not saying that's always right. Sometimes that's wrong. Sometimes you should deeply think about the things you're doing. But it can also lead to sort of a paralysis where you never take action because you're constantly philosophizing about exactly what we should be doing. And so some of these debates where it's like, I'm trying to get real world results. I'm working with politicians in Pennsylvania to try to get the politicians that I think will make this country a better place for my child elected. I'm not trying to fucking walk in there and be like, okay, let's start with syllogisms and utterances. And people are going to be like, what the fuck are you talking about? What are you talking about? The crucible's rating over. I'm not saying there's not a time and a place for that sort of philosophical conversation. You're debating religion? Absolutely makes sense. Anytime you're debating like morality. Now, is it true that anything you have where you have the idea of you should do something that ultimately your morality is involved? Yeah, but that's not my style. What do you mean? No, that's not what he did. Or rather, that's what he was claiming to do. Imagine this. Someone says you're a bitch. And you're like, all right, motherfucker, let's talk about it. And I say, no, I don't want to debate that. I just want to debate, you don't get to argue whether or not that statement's true. Nope. I just have a syllogism. Chocolate chip cookies are good, and it's best to chew them quite a bit before you swallow so you don't choke. You'd be like, what the fuck is this? He didn't offer to debate. He offered to give me a lecture on something that I don't need the lecture. He's saying, let me cue you in for the people that aren't following. Here's what happened. Pisco says in his syllogism that court packing occurred with Merrick Garland, even though that is an underwhelming minority opinion of people that would define what happened to Merrick Garland as court packing. But he uses that word. Then, before I say a word, even though that's the syllogism that he's saying that we should be our central focus, he says, actually, it doesn't matter if I use the word court packing or not. I could say court schmacking. Same thing, and it's an arbitrary utterance that can mean whatever I want it to. Let me tell you the concept of what I mean by court packing. But he chose the word court packing for a specific reason, because he knows most of the people watching are going to be like, oh, if one side court packs, the other side gets to court pack. That's why he chose the word court packing. This was what Ask Yourself's going to say is like, but Rob, let me give you 3 sort of topic areas why it's acceptable to do this in philosophy. Because actually we're trying. My point is, I don't disagree with that. What I'm telling you is the reason Pisco did this was that he wanted to have the word court packing in there, but he couldn't defend the word court packing. And so he immediately backtracked. But then if he wins his new definition of court schmacking, he could reinsert court packing at the end and tell his audience, you see, if you agree court schmacking's okay, then court packing happened. If it was court schmacking, then it's court packing. And if they court pack, why can't we court pack? And you know how I know it wasn't about clarity? Because he made the claims before I even said one word on the prompt. He did it in his opening statement. So it wasn't that we had a confusion that he needed to clear. He knew the confusion existed, which means he had every opportunity in the world to change that term before the debate. But he didn't. Now that's what I wanted to ask yourself about. And he's like, no, I'm uninterested. But the entire reason to ask yourself, Pisco put him in touch with me to explain to me, to give me advice on why this tactic wasn't bad. It was the tactic that Pisco used. So when I said to him today, I'm willing to talk to you about how the way Pisco used this was bad, he says no. That was the whole point. So him saying, I agreed to talk to you, I mean, it's laughable on its face. No, you didn't agree to debate me. It would be no different if I called someone a bitch and they were like, fine, let's talk about it. And I said, okay, I want to read you 3 chapters out of my Constitution textbook. I just want to read them to you. That's it. And if you have any thoughts, fine. But that's it. That's all I'll talk to you about, reading these 3 chapters. What's the fucking utility? The dude said some shit. He's unwilling to back it up. Pisco got him in touch to say that what Pisco did was okay. He's unwilling to talk about what Pisco did. So then what's the point? Well, just in the abstract, sometimes this could be okay. Yeah, but my argument was the way Pisco utilized it wasn't. And Pisco reached out to you to reach out to me to say that it was okay. And now you don't want to talk about what Pisco did. And then you basically implied I was a cuck and said I was running from you. And now you don't want to talk about that after you said I was running from you and I came on. Anyways, why am I getting one person? Fuck these people. Here's all you need to know. They talked shit, said I was running from them. I showed up to their fucking channel with 3 of them. Fairness, Avi didn't say I was running. He's just their boy. And they didn't want no smoke. That's what happened. That's what fucking happened. The dude that said I was a coward and running from him, when I showed up to the doorstep, was like, no. That's what happened. Now they're going to rewrite history, and they're going to run around and say, whoa, we offered him specific prompts. That's what fucking happened. That's it. And I wouldn't even bring it up. Wouldn't bring it up if they didn't start calling me a coward first. Fuck them. Anyway, super chats. Zach Gelpy says that Ryan should have to wear a pirate's hat as well to look more like me. Yes. Thanks for the 5, Zach. Until Wild $5 says, we wanted easy in the late 80s, but now we want Rob. Who y'all want? We want Robbie. Thank you. I appreciate it. Cool Vic, what's up, my man? $20 says Robin Ryan W's. Thank you. Hellstorm, $10 says, little did Peace Cal know that Rob had trained himself on endurance streams with the first official Wade Boggs whip extravaganza. Oh, shit. Yeah, totally true. Zach Kelpie, $10 says, hell yeah. Thank you. And then William TM, $20 says, yes, 1 ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Why risk the end game? See Mike Kobe, Lawton Braves, post today. Native Americans and multiculturalism related to the whole team's concept you brought up. Yeah. And then let me just check Rumble. I know the fine folks over there. Beatster, $10 says, do we get Rob's fallacy and an avarice summing? You're not going to see any part of my anatomy, but avarice did show up. And mic drop moment. Hey, what's up? It's Mike from Maine First. Thanks for the 10. It says, finish your debate from the other day. Not convinced Tammy wasn't just Wick doing a pretty good kitty impression. Go ahead, call me a conspiracy theorist. Look, Wick could not chain arguments together as well as she was. She was at least following like a logical thought. So, but I don't know. What do you think, Wick?
Anyways, next question. Is blackface or brownface ever okay?
Only if you're a pretty kitty.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Bengozi, $10 says chair. You're going to love the farm, honest. Yeah. Out to pasture for chair. What else did I miss in my ranting tonight? Oh, yeah, the Jews. Jews. Now I'm good. Now I'm speaking the truth. Thank you. Sometimes I need to hear that. Bigster, $10 says Disney. We'll get there. You rotten bastard. Thank you for the 10 over on Rumble. Says Disney. Ugh. You guys are brutal. Anyways, I do apologize the debate didn't occur tonight. Look, I try my fucking best. At the end of the day, this is a job for me now. It is. But truly, from the bottom of my heart, I have fun doing this. I like debating. I like talking. Debating is my favorite thing to do on a channel like this. I like talking to y'all. I come on here because I'm just saying things I really believe. I'm not the smartest person, not the funniest person. Pretty funny. I'm, believe it or not the most handsome person. But I am me, and I'm just telling you what I think, and I'm debating in good faith what I think, and I jump in to the best that the other side has to offer on the terms that they offer more often than not. And I'm sick and fucking tired of all the bullshit and the people that just can't tell you what they honestly believe. I'm tired of it. I'm fucking tired of it. Fuck them. If that's the case, I'll just talk to normal folks that are actually trying to do things to influence the world. You guys go be Diogenes, you know, living on the street. Have at. I don't give a shit. Did I already rant about the major loss of Jay Dyer? I mentioned this the other day. You know, I like Jay. There, you would go Phil Bro shit with Jay Dyer. It's not how I debate. My feeling is Jay's probably just like, I'm over this. I've done it 1,000 times. I want to talk about some other stuff. No shame in that. He's been running from the Phil Bros for years, to be fair. People were telling me, Jay wrecked Ask Yourself in a Debate. Who knows what the truth is? No, he's not retiring. He just said he's done doing the religious debate stuff. Yeah, whether or not they're good faith, that is the most important factor. Well, there you go. I don't know shit about whether or not Jay did a debate or lost a debate or whatever. I don't know. Jesus says Jay effed him up. I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I don't. Andrew Wilson, Jay's not a friend of mine. He's not. It's not that I dislike him. I just haven't interacted with him much. Andrew Wilson's a friend of mine. When Andrew's doing like the philosophy bro like type debates, I sort of tune out most of the time, if I'm honest. To the extent that I ever help like prep debates for people in the Crucible, people like Corinth are philosophy people. That ain't me, man. I'm prepping normative shit and debate strategy overall. But I don't do the philosophy shit. I know enough to win debates when people employ it, but I don't know the terminology and everything. Everybody loves Brian Shaprio. What are we talking about? He's amazing. Well, I'm sort of a recluse a little bit. I'm way out here in fucking rural Pennsylvania. Every time I get down to Andrews, it's like a whole production. Like watching some fucking Amish guy figure out airplanes for the first time. I'm standing confused, like, what fucking line do I get in? You know? It's about respect. That is true. All right, well, listen. I hate to do this to y'all, because I did have fun tonight. But I have to transition into the latter part of the show. Now I'll explain one time what's going on here. There was this old Rankin Bass cartoon of the movie Lord of the Rings from like the late 70s. They had this song in it where the orcs are singing, where there's a whip, there's a way, playing on the old, where there's a will, there's a way. And the song's about how Sauron is like forcing them into war by like whipping them. So I thought it'd be funny to convince my audience, like I was like Sauron, like, yeah, whipping you to give me donations, right? $100, we'll play the Austin Hall song. Anyways, my audience basically kept wanting to hear the song. We made AI versions of the song in different versions. And now for $100, if you donate $100, we'll spin a wheel and we'll play whatever song it lands on. There's like 106 of them. $150, you can pick a specific song. And $200, you can create the song in a new version. So maybe you really want a gangster rap bluegrass version or some shit like that. We could try to make it happen. Also, at this point in the show, there's my man, Nate. I would debate him on how to be a debater. Ryan said he moderated a World War debate today, so I hope it went well for you, man. I was telling him, this is probably the most comfortable hat I have. My World War hat. I wear it all the time. Fits quite nicely on my bald head. Anyways, do I have a recommended debate for people to go watch of me? Go watch that 11-hour debate I had with Fisco. I don't know. If you want to see me debate a bigger person, you could watch any of the debates. Just type in Destiny Nor. There's been like 8 or 9 debates. I think those are all pretty good. Go to Modern Day Debate. Those are moderated debates that are on a neutral platform. So if you watch the last 2 debates I did, one was on reparations and one was on Christian nationalism, I think you'll get a good idea of my debate style. But if you just click the live tab in my channel, my YouTube channel, and type in debate, you'll probably find like 200 of them. You pick one. I don't think I always do amazing, but I think. Of course, I'm biased. All right, other rule is if we get to an even $100, that's a song as well. So at this point, if you gave $31, that'd be a whip song. Or if you donated $100, it'd be 2. One for passing 300 and one for donating 100. Tonight, I owe exactly 1 whip song. Except I actually owe 3 because from the video earlier today, I didn't play. For all those that are leaving, I totally get it. This is absolute dog shit. I hate it myself. But people love to torture me with it. So as long as they're donating money, I accept the abuse. It's like being in an abusive relationship. You know? How much to get rid of the wheel forever? $500,000. Someone sends me that, we'll get rid of the motherfucker. So, and then we'll just have a whip cube or something. All right. So, 4 songs I owe. No. Hit the wrong button. Tomorrow night. Oh, don't forget Saturday if you're leaving Saturday. Let me give you an example of what Saturday is going to be, just in case you're wondering. So Blaster Butt, I like to every 3 months signal out one of the people in my audience that are incredibly generous and do a special event for them. So last time it was the Wade Buggs Whip Extravaganza. This time it's going to be the Blaster Butt Dino Battle Invitational, because Blaster Butt is always donating money and giving dino facts. Like this. And so I got this little game here. Let me see. Oh, shit. Okay. Got to make sure I get batteries. So here's how it works. You'll donate $50. You'll say, I'm in. I went in the tournament. And I'll say, okay. By the way, this is going to be Saturday. We're going to start at 3 p.m. Eastern. So let's say our good friend Adam here. Adam Barrera is like, donates $50 and goes, I'm in. So I'll say, all right, Adam, great job. You're in. And I'll reach in my little bag here. Now, there's 1 or 2 cards that we have to get rid of. So if I accidentally draw one of the cards that doesn't count, we'll redraw. But it'll be like this. I'll be like, all right, Adam, here you go. Your dinosaur is, and you would have got this guy. Amergasaurus, right? So we put you down. You got that guy. You're in the tournament with this guy for $50. And then let's say Lobster pays $50 and he's in and he gets, my son's second favorite, Mosasaurus. All right. Then they end up battling each other in the tournament. So then we take our little machine here and we go,
Mosasaurus. Late Cretaceous.
It gives you some facts. We don't need the facts. Then we put in this guy.
Amargasaurus.
And then you hit this button to battle them.
Late Dino Jewel. Mosasaurus. Amargasaurus. Dino Jewel. Begin.
Who do you guys think? I got money on Mosasaurus.
Attack avoided. Ouch. We have a winner. Mosasaurus.
Oh, just like that. That'll be it. And then he'll move on to the next round. Now, there's going to be other little rules. Sometimes it ties. If it ties, we'll redo it. If there's 2 ties in a row, unfortunately, we're going to have to flip a coin. That's how it'll work. But that's the plan. So, You can enter as many times as you want. $50 entry. Then we'll put them into a bracket. You may end up fighting yourself, but hey, then you're guaranteed to make it to the next round. But yeah, that's the plan. And if we go through one tournament bracket and there's enough interest to do a second bracket, then we'll do a second bracket later in the night. That's it. So that'll be Saturday. I'm going to have fun. I don't give a fuck if anyone donates or not. I think it'll be funny. See you, Lobster. So anyways, that's what's going on Saturday. Be quiet over there. All right, now I owe 4 of these dumbass whip songs. Beakster, thanks for the $10, says, do we bet whip songs in the Dino Duel? We'll probably do half-price whip songs for the night as well. So, or something like that. I don't know. I have to think about it. All right. Let's do this. 4 of these dumbass songs I owe tonight. $3 p.m. Eastern Saturday. Heard this one last night over this one. Gregorian. Yay.
We don't wanna go to war today, but the Lord of the light says nay, nay, nay. We're gonna march all day, all day, all day. There's a
Give me a second. If you want to start entries in, I could do that. I could start entries into the Dino thing, but let me go get a blank notebook so I don't screw it up. So I'll be right back. Just give me a second. I'll go get a blank notebook, and then I can start writing down who we need to draw for. So cut off the whip and cut you off.
Rose the waves when the black flags fly. The Noah runs, let the cowards cry. bound.
Fuck! All right. So, Super Chats. Mangozi over on Rumble. $20 says it's just 4 songs. You could do it. Thank you. It's going to be 5 now because we got Chop Chop for $10. Says posted a link one of the Discord for a bracket system you could use. That is amazing. Thank you. Plus made some promotions. I saw the promotions and I've already saved them. I'm going to use it. We're going to be putting those out tomorrow. Birdie the dog, $50 says, let me get a dyno. So you will be, well, the second entrant. Blasterbot gets 1 free entry. So Birdie the dog. Okay. So you can start, if you donate $50 now, we'll put you in the mix. You can donate as many times as you want, have as many entrants as you want. Beekster, $10 says, are we being blacklisted into no Disney? $150, you can pick Disney yourself, or if we get to $1,000 on either Rumble or YouTube, we'll play Disney. Catmere, what's up, my man? It's been a bit. 10 minutes says, good day, Rob. Been a while. Hope the spider farm's doing well. Thanks. I missed the chair too. Hope family's well. Family's great. Spiders, I don't see any up here right now. There's a lot in the basement though. I sort of let them go. So, all right, I owe 4 more. But remember, a 50 at this point, we'll start doing the donos now. $50 will get you in on the Dino Battle. Plus, it's still going towards the total here for Whip Songs tonight. Anyways, I owe 4 more. Next. Let's have it. What am I doing in the basement? What do you mean, what am I doing in the basement? It's my basement. Metal. I have that one saved here.
We don't wanna
Chop Chop, $2 says check the application. Got it. Got you down. So far we got Blast Above, Birdie the Dog, and Chop Chop. If you want if you're donating $50, let me know if you are specifically entering the Dino Battle game. Hitakachi, $50. Says, whoa, almost missed the whip songs in duel. That'll put us over 100 on Rumble, so we'll add that in as well. So I have 4 more songs. So remember, if you want in, $50 per entry. Of course, horse vocals. That sounds lame.
There's a whip where there's a way. Where there's a whip where there's a way. We don't want to go to war today, but the Lord of the Lash says nay, nay, nay. We're gonna march all day, all day, all day. Where there's a whip, there's a way. Where there's a way. Where there's a whip, where there's a way. Where there's a whip, where there's a way. Left, right, left, right, left. Where there's a way. Left, right, left, right, left. Where there's a way. Where there's a whip, there's a way. Left, right. A crack on the back says we're gonna fight. We're gonna march all day and night and more. We are the slaves of the Dark Lord's war. Where there's a whip, where there's a way. Where there's a whip, where there's a way. We don't wanna go to war today, but the Lord of the Lash says nay, nay, nay. We're gonna march all day, all day, all day. Where there's a whip, there's a way. Left, right.
All right, 3 more. That one's not good. Not a fan of that one. If I could be honest, just not a fan. 3 more. Look, we're almost at the goal for tonight, but there we go. In honor of Carmelo Anthony, huh? Black Southern Church Choir.
Where there's a whip, 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 where's a whip. Oh, we don't want to go to war today, but the Lord of the land. Where there's a whip, where there's a whip, oh, where there's a whip, oh, where there's a whip, where there's a whip. All day and night and more. For we are the slaves of the Dark Lord's war. For we are the slaves of the Dark Lord's war. Where there's a whip, where there's a whip, where there's a whip, oh, where there's a whip, where there's a whip, there's a way. Where there's a whip, where there's a whip, where there's a whip, oh, left.
Hey, all right. 2 more. I can't believe you guys aren't tired of this shit. I am. I've been tired of it for, I don't know, a year now. Guess not quite that long. British Synth 1. Okay. Here we go. Hey, one left. Beakster for $50 says, for the Dino Duel, you were in, sir. We got you. Hidakachi, $10 says, getting tired of these? That's blasphemy, Rob. It is not blasphemy. It's the truth, damn it. Last one, unless someone donates more. Oh, we're having fun. Yay. Big band. As opposed to small band, I guess, right?
Where there's a whip, there's a way. Where there's a whip, there's a way. Where there's a whip, there's a way. Where's a whip, there's a way. Where's a whip, there's a way. We don't wanna go to war today, but the Lord of the land says nay, nay, nay. We're gonna march all day, all day, all day. Where there's a whip, there's a way. 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 There's a whip, there's a way. There's a whip, there's a way. Left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. There's a left. Where there's a whip, there's a way. There's a whip, there's a way. Left, right. A crack on the back says we're gonna fight. We're gonna march all day and night and more. For we are the slaves of the Dark Lord's war. Where there's a whip, there's a way. Where there's a whip, there's a way. Where there's a whip, 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 there's a way.
that should be it. But no! Beakster, you psycho. Donates $150 to request a Disney song. So that'll be one random one on the wheel for passing $100. So we'll do that first. Then we'll do the stupid ass Disney one. By the way, I think Rumble may be ahead of YouTube today. Oh, dubstep. That sounds just wonderful.
Where there's a whip, there's a way. Where there's a whip, there's a way. We don't wanna go to war today, but the Lord of the Lash says nay, nay, nay. We're gonna march all day, all day, all day. Where there's a whip, there's a way. 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 Left, right, left, right, left, left. Where there's a whip, there's a we're gonna fight, we're gonna march all day and night and more. For we are slaves of the Dark Lord's war.
Okay.
I had to come back. Yeah. Woo! Dance with me, Rob. Rob dance. Yeah. Come on, Rob, this is awesome dance! Right here, Rob, you don't come to this whip! Right here, Rob! Left, right, left, right, left! A crack on the back says we're gonna fight!
For we are the slaves of the Dark Lord's war.
Fantastic! Fantastic! Spear fingers, Rob! Spear fingers!
All right. Well, that's going to be it, guys. Unless someone donates more. We even get to 357 today. Jeez Louise. Man. What can we do? Everybody's saving their money for Saturday. I get it. I get it. It would have been nice to hit the goal on YouTube. We got some entries in the Dino Battle lined up. I apologize the debate didn't occur tonight. I try. I really try. I do. But there's nothing I can do. If they need more prep, they need more prep. That's the way she rolls. Just reading some messages real quick. Caleb's always like the J-Spurt. Someone donate. If we get to $357, I'll donate the J-Spurt clip. Or I'll do the J-Spurt clip. Oh, there it is. Hey, Z says, here you go. Thank you, my friend. All right. I play the J-Spurt clip. Jews, 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 Now I'm good. Now I'm speaking the truth. Oh, I don't know. It was a no prep debate, so I don't know who my opponent was. Yeah, that's right. Now all the Jewish people know. By the way, thank you to Zach Gelpy for a $10 donation on Cash App, I think. He wants to get, instead of bitch, Schmitz. Schmitz, it's just my definition of bitch, on a shirt. All right, everybody good? No one else going to donate tonight? I'm fine with that. You guys have been incredibly generous. Yeah, but I'll give you one last chance. If anyone wants to torment me a little, I could get out by 2 a.m. That's something. Take that to the bank. Oh, man. All right. Finished reading my messages. Well, thank you so much. We'll be back tomorrow evening. Maybe I'll jump into Speakeasy's panel and do a little debating over there, or maybe some news will break. Talk about more depressing shit. Oh, I forgot to do the goal thing. Yeah. Go! There you go. So, who knows? The news has been depressing with all this stuff, but hey, needs talked about, so we're here for it. All right. Thank you so much to my man Avarice. Thank you to my editor Black Elk. All of my tremendous moderators, thank you so much. Appreciate you all. Thanks to Ryan Mullally for calling in. Everyone who donated tonight, thank you so much. And thank you to everyone who chatted, followed, subscribed, or just watched. I appreciate you all. I want you to take a moment as we joke around and stuff at the end and talk about the frustration of so many of these lefties that are just bad faith and unwilling to talk about what they actually believe. And I want you to just think about the life of Charlie Kirk. Oh, no shit. Myron Gaines rating? Is that true? If Myron's rating, I'll have to stick around for a minute. I don't know, though. Didn't Bleon earlier say the Crucible was rating? And that wasn't the case. Is anyone else seeing that Myron rated? Leon, didn't you say earlier? What are you doing? I mean, that's pretty shitty, right? You said Crucible raid earlier, and there wasn't one. Now you're saying Myron Games raid, and there's not one. What's up with that? Why would you? What's the utility of that? Just being an asshole? I don't know. Just fucks with the show for like 30 seconds for no reason. Yeah, Jim Bob's right. That was different. I don't know. Whatever. No big deal, I guess. But anyways, I'll be wrapping up. Don't appreciate it. That's all I'll say. I try to be nice when people are rating and really show my gratitude when people are saying, hey, someone rated. I don't know. Let's take a moment out and think of the life of Charlie Kirk and what the stakes are. Just like they're doing right now to Austin Metcalf's family, sending them death threats, taking pictures of them supposedly pissing on his grave. That's what the stakes are. So say a prayer for the Metcalf family. Say a prayer for Charlie and his family. We're going to raid over to Speakeasy. I don't know what he's up to tonight, but tell him I said hi. And I will see you all tomorrow evening. As always, have a good one. I have the wrong video set. Give me.
Only in America is it possible to say, you know what, I don't like the way the country is going, and to do something about it. Take that risk. Take that leap of faith. Stay involved. Trust God and act obediently. Romans 12:2 verse. That God will use all things for good for those who love him. It's bigger than you. I want you to remember that. It is bigger than you. It's bigger than me. You are here to make somebody else's life better, the pursuit of liberty and freedom. You know what gives me strength? The hundreds of thousands of you that say, Charlie, keep going.
1 Corinthians 5 and 15. So that's all pretty amazing evidence, not just intra-biblical evidence, but extra-biblical evidence that Jesus Christ was a real person. He lived a perfect life. He was crucified, died, and rose on the third day, and he is Lord and God of all.